Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're ready for some more League of Legends. That last one was a bit of a doozy. We've got a whole nother best of 3 on the docket tonight. Team Solo Invade about to go up against Elysium. This should be a fun one. Go for Reno. Team Solo Invade did pick up the 2-0 last week over Conduit, who we just saw get the 2-0 over Dorado. So that, I think, gives some extra weight to that decisive victory for Team Solo Invade. The fact that the team that they beat seems to also be doing pretty well. And then Elysium here is a team that many folks here in the Premier League have very, very high expectations of. Dillian Arrow in particular are a pretty renowned bot lane, but taking a look here, it does seem like Arrow is not actually going to be making it onto the Rift tonight. We've got the normal top laner, Duddy, that's going to be playing support for Elysium this evening. They've got Yeecaw subbing in the top lane.
Yeah, I think Wookie in production said he looks like one of the players here was having troubles connecting for Elysium, so do always hate to see that, but it is what it is. Finished up with the bans here, a lot of the power picks taken off the board, and some specific callouts here. The York and Swain definitely target bans here, I feel, against Elysium. It does leave the Corki open. I know a lot of people are still high in that champion. You have very, very strong early game all-ins as this champion, and you scale okay enough.
Yeah, just RJ did have a pretty fantastic Corki performance in that victory that they picked up last week. That was game number 1 that RJ played the Corki. It was 10-0 and 11 in that game.
Mel locked in.
Oh, so she is. Mel snuck through the ban phase and was ignored even by TSI on the B1. I wonder if that means they have really high value on the Corki, or maybe they feel like Mel isn't actually that strong.
Also, quick derail, but predictions are live in chat, so throw those channel points on in. The otter points, I believe they're called. I forget what the channel points are called on this channel. Either way, though, I'm curious to see the Mel as well. This will be my first time casting a Mel. As mentioned in the previous series, had a very overpowered release. Her numbers were just absolutely bonkers. Is thankfully doing things in a much more balanced state now. We'll have to see, because I have barely seen any Mels in my games. I think I've played one game with a Mel so far, and that's about it. Can go a lot of positions here, can go support, can be an AP carry bot, most likely going into the mid lane, though.
Most likely. Yeah, definitely have seen her flex into the bot lane as well. We'll have to see. Wukong locked in for Elysium as well. Pretty strong jungler. Slightly nerfed on this patch. Is actually reasonably big nerf. A 5% attack speed off the E at all ranks definitely does hurt a little bit. Nocturne going to come through here as the response, and then Ornn secured for SK up there in the top lane. SK, we saw some fantastic tank play from this guy last week on Team Solo Invade, and I actually did give SK my my personal vote for top laner of the week last week for that tank performance.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up this time around. It will be into the set, though. This is definitely a matchup we saw a lot around the time of set's release, when his numbers were just really insanely good in the top lane and Ornn was very meta in the top lane. It's 50-50 either way. I'm wondering if we're going to see the classic Blade of the Rune King rush here for this set, as that helps you a lot into the Ornn matchup for just shredding through the champion. Definitely
Very true. I think the crux of that matchup, right, is can the Ornn time the Belial's Breath to immune the Facebreaker, right? Is kind of the skill expression in that one. So we'll see between those two top laners who does manage to come out a little bit more comfortably. Moving into the second ban phase here. Galio going to get taken away by Elysium. Jinx removed by Team Solo Invade. They kind of have the luxury of banning away 80 carries since they have locked in the Corki, and Elysium presumably still need theirs unless they do end up flexing that Mel.
Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't mind a Mel flex here, just to see how the champion works in other lanes here. I don't know about into the Corki, though. You don't have the largest amount of projectiles to block, and I don't know how good her burst damage is. I know the ulti is very large radius, hard to miss, and just hits a lot of people when it does land, which happens to be a lot of the time. With current bans, though, like you pointed out, double ADC ban means right now, TSI don't think this Mel is going bot, which I think is a fair assumption here. we'll see a lot here in this R4 slot pick. You could lock in the support here, which I feel is definitely fine with the Rel hover. I respect that here. Keep this Mel a little in the dark as to where she is going.
Yeah, Mel Rel, potential bot lane pairing. Kind of fun to say.
Morel.
So there's that. Yeah.
Ramel.
We'll workshop it. But moving back over to Team Solo Invade, their last couple of picks to round out the composition, they do need a mid laner and a support, most likely. That's our expectation. Maybe like an Orianna here. Oh, Orianna's banned. Never mind. Leona going to be the option alongside the Corki. So does very similar things to the Rel, right? Just basically kind of mirroring that support matchup.
Yeah. Does have longer range, though, with the Solar Flare, of course, and that is less commitment compared to having to use the Magnet Storm where you have to get all in. But yeah, at the end of the day, both these supports going to engage here. Corki Leona is a very classic bot lane pairing. Saw it a lot in Season 2. The Corki just has a lot of abilities to cycle through, which lets you proc the Sunlight passive a lot on this Leona. Of course, that is assuming if it is Corki bot. We did see a Victor bot last game here, so we could see the Corki mid with the Victor bot. Entire possibility here. I'm not as high in the Corki mid anymore.
Yeah, but I'm not high on Victor bot either. You're absolutely right, though. It could be an option. That would not be my expectation either, but it's good to mention that, I think. As the Xayah is going to get locked in here on the R5. R5 AD carry always feels a little bit weird, but they probably were holding that Mel flex until the end, so fair enough. And that's going to round out our draft. So pretty interesting here. I think a lot of similarities for both of these compositions, right, Gopher?
Yeah. Yeah, you got some long-range poke here on the side of TSI, but there is a lot of Unga Bunga, like Nocturne Leona, they want to go in here, so you are going to want some follow-up there on that front, but both these sides definitely pretty similar, like you said. Like, you got the triple front line here, you got the double back line, front to back, you know.
Yeah, this is these kinds of drafts worked extremely well for Team Solo Invade last week. You know, just having those two carries in the mid and ADC positions, and everybody else playing engage in front line. They looked really, really potent in those team fights and didn't really end up giving Conduit many angles to actually fight back. So if they're going to show us more of that, it could look really good for them. You know, for the side of Elysium, I believe they did also pick up the win last week. That was 2-1 victory over the literal monkeys that Elysium were able to find in week number 1, Goferino. And Guster Posey, in particular, I think had a really strong showing. I know our other casters, Trunk Solmo and Ferris, both went with Guster Posey as their jungler of the week. Had highest kill participation in both of the teams' wins and had a very, very strong Kindred performance in game number 3 against Literal Monkeys. Was 10, 3, and 11 on the Kindred in that game.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to keep it up this time around. The Wukong doesn't snowball as hard as the Kindred, because of, you can't get stacks and become an uber range carry. You do have to put yourself in a little bit more danger, but of course, the snowballing potential is still there, and you're definitely able to force a lot more directly than the Kindred, just thanks to having the Cyclone. The Kindred, you don't have any hard CC, but the Wukong, like, you hit him with the double knock-up on that ulti, you're going to do a lot of damage regardless.
Yeah. There's also some nice Vestian synergy for the side of Elysium here between the Set, the Wukong, and the Xayah, all sort of having that same homeland, so that's pretty cool.
I don't think that's a TFT comp, though. I know it's not in the current one, since the current one's still Arcane, and the current old one is the Chinese New Year one. And yeah. I don't think there's a Vestian trait in that one.
Has there ever been a Vestian TFT trait?
I don't know. I only ever played TFT in set 1, and that was like only a little bit. And I basically never played it since. Single-digit games I can count on a single hand. Wow. Actually, there were a few I AFK'd in for about the past ones, but that doesn't really count as playing.
No, I don't think it does. But you got to get those battle pass stuffs. Fair enough there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I do think that, if we do just go to team fights, I have a hard time envisioning a world that Team Solo Invade lose, considering their strong performance last week and the fact that Elysium are kind of playing with a pretty short notice substitution this evening as well, I think is going to make their job a little bit harder also. But we do know, we heard from our producer is actually pretty familiar with Yeecaw, the top laner that's coming in for Elysium tonight. He is a bruiser player. I understand Set is actually one of his favorite champions. So, at least there is that comfort for that individual player, right, where he's going to feel pretty confident probably in that matchup against the Ornn. So, could be an angle there.
Yeah, and for ignoring the subs here, I do favor Elysium's comp some more here. The tank busting prowess on the side of TSI isn't the highest here. Yes, you aren't facing like a full tank like the Ornn you have on your team here, but once some resist items come through for the Wukong, the Set, it might be a little bit harder for you to cut through him here, especially with the Corki. I wouldn't be surprised if the Victor here itemizes into Leandri's just to deal some health stacking, since Set and Wukong do typically stack the health early, then build the resist later. Is something to keep in mind though, whereas the side of Elysium, you got some decent percentage health damage across the board, as well as a crit ADC, so you will be able to eventually get through the front line here.
Yeah, definitely the case. I think it is fair to say that the draft for Elysium has just like a little bit more damage overall, throughout the whole comp. So I think that is definitely something else that we definitely should consider. What do you think about this mid lane matchup in particular, though? You were saying you're not the most familiar with Mel just yet, right, Goferino? But if you're envisioning the trading patterns here in your head between Victor and Mel, what do you think we can expect from that mid 1v1?
So the thing is, I'm like just that unfamiliar with Mel. I'm not sure how our trading patterns go. I know you want to stack up the passive and just auto attack people, and that leads to a lot of damage here. So I'm not entirely sure. I know the champion has some pretty decent range and can match Victor here, at least with the ulti plus Q. But yeah, I really cannot say much about this champion when it comes to like concrete how the hell matchups work.
Well, we're going to learn. We're going to learn in this one together how this one is going to go. Overall, I think you mentioned just a moment ago, you actually do have a slight preference for the Elysium draft in this first game. Was that right, Goferino?
Yeah. If you forget the fact that there is the substitute they had to pull out last minute here, I'm favoring their comp just a bit more.
Absolutely. Just turning the nameplates off. That is the question. So very interesting. Like we mentioned earlier on, both of these teams able to pick up a win in week number 1 as well. So we'll be looking, whoever wins this matchup tonight is going to be looking real nice towards the top of those standings moving into week number 3. And already, we're starting to think about getting towards the halfway point of the regular season and who's going to be looking good, as we get towards that. So we'll have to see. We'll be on to the Rift soon, guys, for game number 1 between Elysium and Team Solo Invade. See you on the Rift. Okay, my dear otters, welcome back onto the Rift for our first game of our second match here on the second Saturday of Blue Otter Premiere. We do again have Team Solo Invade on the blue side, Elysium on the red. We were just discussing before we went into the break, Go for Reno, the matchup between Victor and Mel in mid lane here. We do have our producer, the one and only Wookiee Monster, who's coming in for this second match, is a bit of a Victor main. So he was able to share some additional information for us. You can reflect Victor's E, and if you time it right as the Mel, then it does target basically the Victor. It's can be very very difficult, and did just see some nice trading there as they Barat Wukong at level 1.
Also interesting, Sofa does, oh my lord, that's me hitting my microphone. Sofa does start with the Tear the Goddess here, instead of the Doran's Ring. The drop in health definitely can be noticeable here, when it comes to just trading a lane. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but 80 health in the early game is definitely very noticeable at level 1 through 6.
For sure. Yeah, they're very interesting for the Mel. I think, the expectation would be that, so slight item advantage in terms of, actual trading power for the Victor, just on the Doran's Ring versus the tier, right? So we'll have to see if that comes into play at all.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be too much kill threat here in the early game in mid lane. It's just going to more matter for, you might be forced to back over here. So we'll see how that one shapes up in the mid lane, because I don't think either of these mid lanes really has kill threat till level 6 point.
Yikal able to get to level 2 first in that top lane matchup, as we can see. Pushes the Ornn off the wave, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
We mentioned already that very comfortable on this set, one of his main picks, so he's fine about the matchup, I'm sure.
Yeah, the set does, unlike other Juggernauts, tend to struggle a little against tanks when it comes to stealing enough damage to actually kill them, which is kind of a weird thing to say. The passive does literally do percentage health damage, but yeah. That's why you will see the board itemized a decent bit on the set.
Ooh, turret shot coming through there onto Sofa's Mel. Was kind of winning out in the trades, but no longer with the health advantage after that turret shot.
So, probably going to be looking back here soon. We have this knockdown.
Ooh, Facebreaker pulls the Ornn out of the charge, and SK's going to have to flash to get back underneath the turret. Close call there, unleashed into the mid lane. And the Dustbringer is going to get reflected. Sofa totally fine. Level 3 Nocturne, not the most threatening ganker.
36 at least. Yeah. That's where's the Mel out. Does mean you're victor. Actually, MBK is stuck pretty far back in lane. There's gonna be chilling here. It's not like they're under much threat here. It's not like they're super out mana. They're about 70-ish% health here. They're down to about maybe 60-ish% mana, so we're fine.
Yeah, finding another stun there with the gravity well.
Ooh, passive procs adding up a little bit here.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, right, the fact that Sofa now has already committed the teleport. Any damage that NBK is able to get out here is going to be really, really good for the Victor, considering he's still holding on to that teleport summoner.
Of course, though, you're still taking a lot here, and you're going to have to back yourself. And, oof, okay, SK. Playing with a bit of fire here. Had to teleport back to lane after nearly dying, but they just got back to lane, already down to half health here. We'll see what Yikal wants to prioritize here if they are backing. It looks like Yikal just back themselves, though, considering that they have a longsword in inventory.
Also teleport on cooldown for Yikal. Another nice Facebreaker, though. Another great trade on to the Ornn. That Haymaker almost enough to get the kill. SK suffering so far in that 1v1.
And let me just now... Unleashed is pathing towards top here, but I feel like SK just had to finish the back there. You can get EXP here. Maybe you can get a
dangerous. Yikal flashes underneath the turret, gets the kill. Does not get back out from underneath the turret, though. Unleashed there to trade it back 1-for-1.
Also, hello there, Aegis Esports. Thank you for the raid. This is our second series of the night. game number 1 here, only just starting. You guys did miss first blood, potentially. Or you might have...
Just in time. They're just in time for it.
Okay, yeah. I don't see the timestamps there. I also have the stream on audio only because, you know, I'm kind of watching it right here.
That's right. Makes sense.
The first blood picked up there. At least an assist goes into SK's pocket, so they're able to get an extra health crystal and the refillable on the back. That's going to be nice to have. It's not going to make this lane too much easier, considering you're down in gold and there's now a pickaxe in the inventory of ECOB, but it's something. You'll take something over nothing.
Yeah, pickaxe rather, pickcaw. Pickaxe probably leading us towards that Blade of the Root King. Okay, there's the Bellows Breath on Immune the Facebreaker. That's the trade that the Ornn wants in that matchup. See if SK is just kind of calibrating for the set matchup still.
That was a bad
went for a little bit early there. Level 6 for Yeecaw. And Facebreaker charged away from. Ooh, walked back into the Haymaker though. That hurts.
Yeah. Yeecaw is trading in some pretty fatty minion waves though, so that's why they're taking a decent amount of return, and they did not get any health pots there on that back. Pathing up towards top. Unleashed does not have the paranoia though.
That's right. The grubs were just secured by the Nocturne a moment ago. There's the first neutral going over. The trade about to come through. That first dragon is going to go over to Elysium. The neutral trade. Absolutely classic.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely take that. Some extra scaling in the bank here. Gonna be very appreciated. Extra 80 in AP. Can help you hit some breakpoints just a little bit earlier for wave clearing, or at the very least, it'll give you a smidgen more extra damage when it comes to team fights. I was gonna argue against that.
Oh,
of course,
didn't immune Facebreaker that time. Oh, even the Bellows Breath set him up for the showstopper. Oh dear, Paranoia is going to come in over the top, and the set does not have any cooldowns. Trying to get to the wall, was actually threatening the flash over, but he actually was on cooldown, so the set was always going to die there. And again, Unleashed is there to trade it back.
Doesn't mean the Nocturne is 2-0. Having to commit a decent amount of time to this top side, of course. Had to also commit the Paranoia there as well. So it means this Nocturne here for Unleashed can't threaten that in other parts of the map, which you are very thankful for as Elysium's been bot. Yes, the Mel does have the reflect barrier, so let you just bop away something, but you can't really bop away the Nocturne ulting you.
No, you can't.
So that would be very funny if you could, but...
That would be awful, and I might actually uninstall the game at that point.
Back. I mean, it'd be kind of like if you use Echo ulti after like teleporting right back to lane, and you just go back to basic. Oh, alright. You just boop him back like that.
Like Nocturne actually just goes back to wherever he cast R from? Oh my god.
Take that.
Oh, stop giving me nightmares, Gopher.
Nah, I got it, because Nocturne's a nightmare.
Damn, I don't even mean to do that. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hopefully we get the Nocturne rework happening soonish, but...
We'll see.
Both junglers and this bot side right now.
Paranoia is still on cooldown for Unleashed. Guster Posey does have access to the Cyclone. Level behind Unleashed at the moment, or probably about half a level behind is the Wukong. Not going to really find too much of an angle. Reset. SK pulled back. Charges away. Totally fine. 80 seconds on the Grubs.
Yep. And with this Vamp Scepter inventory, it looks like Yeecaw is going for the classic Bork here. Of course, SK has the Bramble Vest. Paranoia is back up here, so... And the top side's basically cleaned out, so I think Unleashed is just looking for the gank here. Flash not quite available for Yeecaw.
Important to call out, Duddy Brains, knowing that the objective is coming up, has made a roam towards the top side. Rel is up there to help Elysium try and secure that second set of grubs. Only one grub is needed for Team Solo Invade to get themselves the Twitch chatters as an ally on the Rift.
True. Wait.
Leona?
Oh. So if I'm believing Twitch chat here, it looks like Ecom might have other obligations at 8 PM EST. Of course, it is Twitch chat, so
interesting.
Grain of salt.
Right.
Adding a bit of haste to this.
could be illuminating if Yika goes for any really over-aggressive plays. You know, maybe there's something there where he's really wanting the games to end as quickly as possible. Theoretically, you know, if that is the case, and he has another commitment a little bit later on.
Yep.
Keep an eye out for that.
Definitely
Spawning
will.
in just a moment here, and Hax has made the roam up towards the mid lane as well. But it seems like Team Solo Invade are pretty reluctant to actually commit to the objective start. Getting some prio in mid at the moment, as NBK is going to have to flash away from the ganking Duddy. And now here comes the paranoia, and Duddy may have overextended a little bit too far as the fear tether is going to come out. The Wukong is here to try to counter-engage. Not going to be enough to save the support, though. So our second activation is there. The Mel ultimate does execute the Leona, but Unleash able to flash back in there, takes down the Wukong, and now Sofa flashes away, gets back underneath the tier 1. Mel ultimate already committed. A 2-for-1 fight in the mid lane. Team Solo Invade.
Ooh, that secures all 6 grabs here. You will take that here as Elysium.
Oh, yeah. You mean Team Solo Invade?
Team Solo Invade, right?
Yeah.
The logos mixed up, but good counter pick there in the mid lane. Is right. It's gonna be a Hexblade rush here, actually, for Unleashed. That's interesting. I know Nocturne's here does a decent amount. You know, you like the haste, you like the attack speed. Kind of funny to see. You don't really see that item on too many champions.
True. Yeah, no, it is fantastic on Nocturne, though. So I think that's a very solid rush for Unleash. The other main option would be the Stride Breaker, right? It's the other item that Nocturne tends to build first quite a lot. But going for the exploit this time, I think totally fine. Was only able to get one of those grubs, so only had time to get one grub. Victor needed the reset, I guess, so wasn't actually able to help with the objective take. Yika does get a turret plate, but the minion wave is getting cleared out now. The set does manage to get away from the turret before it gets upset with him. And so that is going to be totally fun. It's just basically gets the turret plate for free. And Wukong is going to be able to secure at least 2 of those grubs. So the feat is going to be denied. I believe the feat of Warfare did go to Team Solo Invade, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. And it looks like they're going to be picking up this dragon as well. So I like that for TSI. You know, they get the 1 extra grub, so they have enough for the 1 little voidling spawn. Yep. It lets them reset here that gold from the fight and set up for this dragon here. Just even up the counts of the dragons.
Indeed.
Themselves just a tad ahead.
You could see as well that Elysium were thinking about contesting for that one, but they just didn't really feel like they had enough information. They didn't feel like they had the positioning. They are just going to allow it to go over. Very close game still that we have here in this first one.
Just taking shit here. It looks like Yika's trying to recall their teleports back up. I'm expecting the Bork to be finished here. We already saw the damage wasn't doing too much here to SK here. The Tab Eyes plus the Bramble. You just get those 2 items, or if you want to, the Tab Eyes plus the
Chaos Storm. Alright. It is a pretty nutty CS lead for Yika in that top lane right now. It's almost double SK's CS, which is pretty huge.
What we can do here with that, because once again we have Unleashed in the top side here. Has the Paranoia as well. One of the things with Blade the Rune King on set is that it gives you literally 0 health or resists here, having up Paranoia available.
Ooh, SK a bit early there on the Bellows Breath once again, trying to deny Yika the angle to use the Showstopper. Facebreaker for the pullback, but Nocturne is here once again. A little bit awkward as SK whiffs the Call of the Forge God activation, but it does not end up mattering at all. And Unleashed another successful gank into the top lane.
Yeah, you can see the squishiness coming out there, and Yika just not able to deal with 2 people. Just riding on them there. Bit of a camp in the top side working out here. SK able to get their first kill here. A little bit of pressure on that turret. Reset out.
Yeah, which they did need to get off post-haste, because Sofa and Guster Posey were both moving over towards that top lane to try to look for a punish, but they arrive only to find no enemy champions are in the lane anymore. So only going to be able to get the wave pushed out. And Sofa is losing some minions in mid for that roam. Overall, GSI winning out on the map in that sequence. Solar Flare going to get the stun onto Duddy's Rel, and the Gravity Well denies the crash down also, and Duddy just not allowed to play the video game. NBK picking up his first.
Alrighty, yeah, just good pick there. 2 members winning that brush. You see a support walking by. Got gravity well as well. Just to lock them on down. I don't think we need
Really
to make
nice.
a bot lane here, Wookie. It's been a farm fest.
Looks like a Chemtech soul for us once again here, Goferino. So we'll see if the buffed Chemtech soul going to be something that these teams are eager to play for. Now it's Guster Posey's turn to be present in the top lane, but that's a full HP Ornn.
Full HP Ornn also now has the bombies as well, looking for a pick, but there's the rest of the members there. Backs on out. It's gonna take a bit of a chill pill here. Minute 40 till the next dragon. Rift Herald is spawning shortly.
One more objective is all that TSI need for the upgraded shoes.
True.
Or first turret.
Either or. Of course, on the flip side, Elysium, they probably want to nab that for themselves here. Won't be giving up too much more.
It looks like a Herald start being considered right now by Unleashed. Guster Posey's also in the area. Sweep out that ward in the Tri-Brush. Herald has been started. It's Hax this time who's the first support to the play. As Duddy is moving up. It's going to be a little bit late, but the Rel will be here soon. NBK trying to hold this choke, prevent the entry into the river. Guster Posey doesn't need to go through there, though. The Wukong can just trickster over the wall if he'd like to. I assume that they're going to be pressured to try to deny the feast. There's the engage, but the objective has already gone over. The paranoia coming out now from the Nocturne just to try to create some chaos. The cycle gets a decent amount of value, and Yeehaw goes in with the showstopper as well. They managed to take down the Leona, but it seems like the team fight is going the way of TSI. Yeehaw fighting valiantly, trying to get those punches down onto the Nightmare, but Unleashed is going to get the last laugh, and now Duddy with the crash down trying to get away. I think be able to chase down the Rel. I think one more Death Ray should do it. And there it is, NBK on a killing spree. It's the objective and the team fight, TSI on top.
Yep, just Elysium a little too late to that rotate there. Sofa already took a decent amount of damage to that mid lane there, so they came in with about half to 60% health there. By the time they actually get in there, the Rift Herald's dead. That's going to be a fatty L for them. They lose a lot of members. There goes the first turret as well. That Herald picking up a lot of value. And that is going to throw a bunch of gold into the pocket of TSI here. Right as this next dragon spawns, we already see some first items coming through here.
Whoa, look at that. NBK has an Elixir of Sorcery at 18 minutes. That's pretty unusual.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to further your lead, sure.
Paranoia onto Sofa, who is underneath the turret right now. So the Mel is going to be able to just walk that one off. A little bit over-aggressive, perhaps, for TSI, as they're looking to secure themselves this first Chemtech Dragon. And Quirky has to be a little bit careful about getting engaged on. Sidestep on the Shattering Strike. And once again, the side of TSI are holding the choke. The Solar Flare is going to force out the Feather Storm, and now the Mel doesn't have Flash. Sofa might be in a whole bunch of trouble here. The Blast Cone is not going to work out. The Mel was not standing on it, and RJ is going to be able to claim that kill onto the enemy mid laner. Now the Yeehaw trying to turn it around, though, gets into the thick of things with the Showstopper. They've taken down NBK, and the Nocturne is going to drop as well. Look at RJ, though, trying to take down Dilly. One more rocket to the back of the head, takes down the Xayah, and the Corki has taken over the team fight. Nobody had tags on RJ. The Haymaker almost enough, but in the end, it will be another team fight win and a triple kill to boot for just RJ.
Yep, just RJ there, just got a lot of alone time onto Dilly. Able to walk around the flank there, and once Dilly died there wasn't too much damage left in the tank. Guster Posey, as the Wukong went, you don't have the Cyclone, you don't have the best damage, and then of course Yeehaw is relying on getting that big Haymaker, which does land, but not quite enough. And Elysium now down in the hole here, giving up the dragon as well.
Hole is about 3K big. How big the hole is, that didn't really make sense, but you know what I was going for. And yeah, it's definitely a pretty commanding position now for TSI. I mean, they're not going to be the most excited about Chemtech Soul, but a soul's a soul. You know, definitely would be great value. And they have been very, very strong in the team fight so far, just like we saw from them last week.
Just keep on going here. We'll see how they keep this momentum going, if they can. Because they do fall off a little bit here if you're talking about the DPS aspect, which can be a bit of an issue. Thankfully, there's 5 deaths on the side and 3 deaths on the Wukong, so they've been put behind. You don't have to worry about them getting resist anytime soon. But still a concern if this game does drag out. We thought last game was a done deal, but it does drag out.
That's true. We'll have to be careful about calling these as we move forward, as RJ is going to get pulled out of the Valkyrie. Cyclone as well. They should be able to take down the Corki here. Shut down over to Yikaw's set. A bunch of extra gold for the sub-top laner. And they're looking for the Otacon start afterwards. 5v4 on the map for Elysium. Teleport coming in, though, as that is going to be SK's Ornn arriving to the play. The Solar Flare only finds the clone, as Guster Posey able to disengage, but the fact that the set, or the Wukong ult rather, is on cooldown, that's a big tool for the side of Elysium, and really TSI are not afraid of the fights. They don't have their Corki, but they don't really seem to care.
Yeah, because Sofa's trapped on the bot side here, does not have teleport up just yet.
True.
So getting into this fight is going to be difficult. You don't have Dilly either. It's just these 3 members here versus the 4.
So could be a steal angle potentially for Guster Posey, as Yikaw's going to get in there with the showstopper, getting some vision for the jungler at least. They take down the Leona once again, but it's a beautiful knockup from SK. They take down the top of the Nocturne, has also been taken out. It's Xayah who's made the roam up through the river. Dilly with all the DPS, and the Otacon will go over to the team that still has the smite. Guster Posey secures it. SK trying to run, trying to peel for NBK. The Victor, does he have the damage turning around? RJ back from the death chamber. The Corki is going to be able to arrive and force some withdraws, but the Mel flashes forward. The Q takes down Ornn. A shutdown for Sofa, and Corki's not going to be able to knock off that last Otacon buff. So it looked pretty dire there, but Elysium able to win out in that sequence.
Yeah, just barely, though. They had their smite still up in Guster Posey, despite being on death's door. Able to get just in range there to get the smite down, and now, every time they get a kill or assist, you got some extra juice in the bank. A lot of damage coming down here. You still have the kind of GA available. It's not a pure GA since you don't have the spot, but semantics.
Would have got knocked off if that big one landed, I think, as Hack's now getting engaged on. Paranoia's going to come out. That forces the Feather Storm. The Blade Caller pretty good, but the Fear pretty good as well for Unleashed. Trying to chase down the Xayah. Lethal Tempo doing so much work here. A nice flash to get the other side of the Feathers, and Dilly is going to get taken down. Guster Posey here, though, with the Cyclone. Trying to turn this play around, and Yikaw as well. Facebreaker pulls back in the Nocturne. Unleashed goes down. Now Hack's in trouble. Flashed away. Getting into the line brush here on the side. Beautiful Gravity Well from NBK, turning the team fight around once again. Takes down the Nocturne with the Death Ray. Yikaw still with the Otacon buff. Is probably going to be forced to withdraw. It's one more skill shot from the Victor is all that they need.
Okay.
The set actually does manage to get away there.
With a sliver of health. Just barely. So 1 for 2 there actually on the play, because Guster Posey dies right as they're about to get some fruit, which would have probably taken them out of the death range, or the death ray kill range, I should say. And it's going to be in favor of TSI here. They're going to get some more presence. They're going to be able to get some nice damage here in this bot lane turret and put themselves in a nice situation here for this dragon spawn in about 40 seconds here. You got two and a half items here on some key members, or basically all your members across the board. And it's a very large spike when the enemy team mostly just sitting on 2 items themselves. Guster Posey only on 1.5 though.
Yeah. Wukong has unfortunately not had the greatest of times this game. Has had some decent engages with the Cyclones, but not being able to pick up any of those last hits means
Featherstorm isn't.
A little bit behind. Oh, Dilly. Yeah, does have the Featherstorm. Try to get away from this one, as that was not a push that he should have face-checked. And BK is going to be able to take it down. Flash and ult committed there for the Xayah. Still goes down right as the dragon comes up. Yikaw trying to do some split pushing towards the top lane, and is doing a pretty bang-up job of it. Is in fact going to take this entire tier 2 turret in the face of the Ornn.
Yep, Blade of the Rune King doing some decent work here, but with the fully completed Thornmail, ouch.
Okay, SK going for Call the Forge God activation. The Showstopper to deny it, though, but still, the set had too many spells on cooldown. SK sees the angle. Able to find the solo kill against a Yikaw's set. Meanwhile, Chemtech Soul Point has gone over.
Yeah, this horn pretty damn tanky. Has their upgraded Sunfire cape here and just a billion armor to boot. Wiki, if we could quickly check how much armor SK has here, I'm curious. Yeah, 335, so... And Yika does not have a Black Cleaver to cut through any of that right now. I don't think Set has any native armor pierce either. So yeah, have fun getting through that one.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be Overlord's Bloodmail, third item for Yeehaw. A bunch of damage for Set, for sure, but no armor pen.
Would really like the Cleaver here. If you want to, some resists. Cleaver would definitely be very handy here, considering you have a Xayah plus Wukong on your team. Shred the armor of this tank that you're going to have some difficulties getting through. We'll see what Sofa can do to them, as you're able to proc that Leandri's a lot here as this champion.
And at least Guster Posey has a bit of an armor pen, or armor shred, I should say, on the Wukong. So, you know, if it's a 5v5, if everybody on Elysium is there, then you're definitely getting some good value with that, at least.
Looking for a flank here.
Flash forward to the Facebreaker for the setup. RJ flashing away, staying alive for now. Paranoia committed as well for the Nocturne. Teleport to the other side of the fight. And the Paranoia means that the side of Elysium don't know where the Victor is coming from. He's going to collapse from the topside river here. Yika got some good value there with a Haymaker, but nobody has gone down. The Set is going to get taken out. Meanwhile, SK on the front lines to RJ, valking forward, looking for Dilly. The Featherstorm comes out as he dodges away from the knockup of the Ornn, but still the Xayah is going to go down. And it was just so well set up there by TSI. The Nocturne ultimate to start things off, to deny information from Elysium, the Victor teleport to collapse from the flank, and it's another decisive team fight win for the blue side squad.
Yeah, even though the start of that fight was beneficial, you trade Flash for a Flash and the Paranoia ultimate, but it kind of rears its head when you just don't have the damage to kill this Ornn. And you also get pincered there, so while it was a nice showstopper into the back line, you're not able to finish anyone, there's no follow-up, and your back line can't deal with the Ornn just hopping on top of you. Right now, TSI in a very favorable position, you know, they're up a decent chunk of gold. They now have the Baron buff as well to really crack this game wide open. Standard goal is to try and crack open the enemy base, as mentioned earlier in the cast, so we'll see what they can do with this. At the very least, try and secure the soul.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to transition beautifully as well. The Baron buff is going to persist until the soul spawns. So I think we have reached territory where it feels like it's really no longer in Elysium's hands. It feels like it has to be a mistake at this point from Team Solo Invade for Elysium to actually have a shot at coming back in this one. You know, certainly that's a possibility. It could happen. They're going for play now as the cleanse comes out from the Xayah, but she doesn't have ult or flash. They're still on cooldown, and Dilly does get taken down as Unleashed finds another grating with a Paranoia jungler. Homie there taking up the turret shots as well. And now a 5v4 on the map. They're going to be able to continue this siege in earnest for TSI. Ooh, good root there off on the side. NBK is chunked pretty low, but Sofa holding on to the ult still.
Also, shoutouts to Kazuha Nakamura. After Bully said any Twitch primers in chat, Kazuha Nakamura did Twitch Prime in chat, so shoutouts to you for giving us a bit of extra money here on this cast. And shoutouts to TSI as you've been gassing them up here, Kerman. They're definitely juicing this game.
Oh yeah, they're in a great spot now, no doubt about it. SK is actually 2 levels up now over the Set. So Haymaker is some damage, but this Ornn is just too tanky. SK is too big to fail, it seems like. The Paranoia comes out, Fear Tether is there, and the Set has no spells left. Killing spree for Unleashed. Unleashed indeed. And they're set up for this next Chemtech Dragon in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it would be the soul here as well. Definitely going to be handy for them to survive any bit of extra burst that comes their way. Just to keep these carries alive in the backline a little bit longer if they do get hard dove, or potentially much longer if they don't even die off of that.
So let's see. I mean, it seems like the side of Elysium are making the call that they can't contest. I mean, they're down Set. Yika doesn't even have teleport or anything to get back onto the map. So they're not going to fight a 4v5 when they've been losing the 5v5s. I mean, there's just no realistic way to make it happen. So they're going to be forced to give over the Chemtech Soul, and it's not getting any easier for Elysium.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. They're like, you really want to contest that, but at the same time, you literally can't. So, call here is going to be Turtle as best as you can. You do have the Mal plus the Xayah, two champions that are decent at turtling. You know, not the longest range, but they have enough range here.
Yeah. Tier 2 is going to fall. No Baron buff available anymore for TSI, so they're probably not going to be able to break the base, I don't think, until they can get access to that purple worm again. A little bit of breathing room, a little bit of respite for the side of Elysium.
Just for now, though. 2.5 minutes till the Baron, like you mentioned here, so it's going to be a rough one here if Elysium is to come back in this game. Biggest thing is, please get some goddamn armor pen, for the love of God.
Like, it's a family-friendly stream, Gopherino. I know you feel passionately about this.
Jimothy Ding, I guess. But yeah. Please get some armor penetration here. We've mentioned, last time we checked up, it was like 340 armor on this Ornn, probably closer to 400 now.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Yikaw trying to trade in that last sequence before the set got taken down in the side lane. And yeah, I mean, he just wasn't doing enough damage to the Ornn. SK just doesn't really care anymore about anything that the set can do in this 1v1. It's a bit of a shame because Yikaw was definitely winning out in those earlier trades, right? Had a lot of pressure in the lane, was threatening solo kills multiple times. It's just not the case anymore. You see, Ornn just doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything that's happening right now. Well, that's a decent amount of damage from the Haymaker, but the set is taking more damage from the full tank Ornn. So, yeah.
It is a League of Tanks right now. Plus, also, Thornmail does quite a bit of damage against this set.
Is Yikaw just going to get solo killed now?
Potentially. I think Yikaw here
Another Haymaker. The set has no spells left now. Everything's on cooldown, and SK is like, I'm just going to hit this R. And then, the flash away for Yikaw is going to save his life. But, yeah.
The knockup wouldn't have landed, though, because SK did actually miss the wall there.
He did, didn't he? I wasn't going to mention that, but, yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah, technically could have survived without flashing there, but I can see why Yikaw would flash. So you assume there's a wall there, which is fine and dandy.
Those pesky walls. Moving around, dodging Ornn like that. It's very rude.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of Baron control in favor of the winning team here for TSI. Unsurprising. Just completely suffocating as much vision as they can. It's hard here. Really? Okay, if that's done lands, at the very least it forces out the Cleanse or Featherstorm.
Yeah, but not the case. Xayah is totally fine for now. Just going to make sure, the side of TSI is going to make sure that they deny all of these wards. You can see Duster Posey and Yikaw up behind the red buff here as they move forward, as they try and get a little bit of information, but Unleashing NBK waiting in the bush. Yikaw is going to face check them, forced to go in, forced to try for an engage, gets a decent amount of damage out onto NBK, but is just going to end up dropping once again. The Wukong spotted is on the run from the Corki, but not going to be able to chase him with the Paranoia. The Cyclone is forced out now as well for Guster Posey. The reinforcements, I don't know if they're going to arrive on time. He's trying to at least get back onto the turret. Meanwhile, Dilly going for the Featherstorm, trying to take down NBK. The last auto attack reigns true, and Dilly takes down the enemy mid laner. Now SK is getting peeled off by Duddy. Dilly going to be able to find another one here. Oh, SK, though, with his dying breath of the bellows, manages to take down the Xayah, and now Duddy has nobody left to fight with. So it's still a team fight win for TSI. Props to Dilly, at least able to find a couple back there alongside Duddy. But in the end, it will still be TSI securing their second Baron.
Yep. EP coming out here.
For Yikaw. Yikaw, you don't have Smite. I'm sorry, but I don't really think there's a lot you can do here. The Baron is going to get secured, and so is the set.
Unleashed did miss Smite there, so there was technically a small chance there, but yeah, that was I don't know about the TP Chief.
Questionable.
That's a nice way of putting it, yeah.
I try to be nice.
Yeah. You're not going to have it here for when Elder spawns. We've already seen how bad team fights are going. Still no armor pen either. There's a... Oh wait, no, there's armor pen. There's armor pen. Okay, I was about to say, like, there's no way Dilly's getting a lifesteal item here before Last Whisper, but they do have the completed Lord Dommies here, so that is something.
True. Yeah, I feel like Dilly has kind of been the one part of the map that's been working okay for Elysium, but it's really tough to be proactive on a pick like Xayah, right? You really just... You're very reliant on your team, I think, to create that space and you know, give you those angles where you can really get value from the feather pools. Top inhib turret has fallen to RJ. Inhibitor now is under siege. Baron's still on for about a little over 90 seconds, so if they're connecting onto Sofa, follow-up is not there. They're just looking for this inhibitor, TSI is for now. RJ can be valking away from the Wukong. It's Hax potentially in trouble as a showstopper. Oh, and Yikao just pops like a balloon. The Rel does go in for a little bit of an engage, and Dilly trying to get some good value from the Feather Call, but the Orin ultimate is absolutely gigantic. And so is the Chaos Storm. Just look at the size of that thing. And that's going to be it. That's going to do it for game number 1. 36.5 minutes, and TSI take their first Nexus of the night.
Solid showing by TSI. They're able to deny the aggression in the top lane. They're able to stay ahead in most of the objectives here, aside from that one first dragon of the game, and just bring it on home here for 1-0.
Absolutely. And, you know, Elysium, they definitely had a couple of good angles in this game. Like, there was the fight around the Otacon that ended up going really, really well for them. And like I said, I think Dilly honestly had a pretty solid game on the Xayah as well. You know, not spectacular or anything, but was trying his best to do his job. But yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, that game felt very controlled to me for Team Solo Invade.
Yeah, and see if they can continue in this next game here as well. I'm curious how Elysium is going to respond here. You did lose one of your top laners, Comfort picks here, and it had a pretty decent showing at first, but kind of got camped, and then I had some issues with the itemization. No cleaver. We can see how that turned out here. And yeah.
Yeah. You know, we had an issue with a teleporter too there, unfortunately, as well for Yikao. So, you know, did have the most damage on his team by a country mile, but was laning against an orange, so that's probably to be expected. But yeah, I mean, definitely TSI continue to look extremely formidable. And, you know, if we see similar performances in the next game, they could find themselves another 2-0 tonight, solidify themselves at the top of the Premier League. We're going to go into a break. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. Go for Reno. Your POG, please. I'm sorry.
Probably Unleash there for just kind of taming the top lane there, and then the Paranoia's pretty decent work this game. There were like one or two that were a miss, but overall I feel like they had a pretty solid showing this game and helped bridge their team a lot into the lead they garnered.
I like it. I like it a lot. Unleash, you know, was able to get the first round of grubs as well, secured the fourth grub, gave them that buff, and then I think shutting down Yika's set up there towards the top side was probably pretty critical as well. So love it. Don't go vote for POG in this first one. Into the break, guys, and then we'll be back for Game 2 draft.
ぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導かれた。重ねる手と手には言葉なんかより伝わることがある。熱い心通じ合った確かなレゾナンス見つけるのはエッセンス目指した意識の先がディスティネーション。答えが見えなくてくじけそうになって支え合い誓い合う絆でつなぐシャイニースマイル。心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道を開く鍵は My Starlight Heart。明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing Heart。 心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道が開いたら羽ばたいて行こうよ。乗り越えて行こうよ。星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High。 まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜を新しい朝をここからまた始めよう。 My heart shines endlessly。
All right, folks, welcome back. Sorry for a little bit of an extended break there. Elysium have been forced to do a little bit more roster shuffling. So Yikaw was only able to sub in for that one game. He is now gone. Duddy is back into the top lane, go for Reno, and we've got Cordelia coming in as the substitute mid laner with Sofa now playing support.
We are definitely on a wild ride here. I am very curious how that shapes up here. Because Elysium in game number 1 with a sub, it looks like they're still playing pretty much on the same page here, but now you got even more shakeups here. I don't know what sort of sub their new mid laner is, if that's an E sub or what. But yeah. That is going to have some interesting ramifications on the bans as well, since there's an entirely new mid laner in play. You're probably banning some different champions.
Yeah, it does seem like at least everybody has their bans, so I don't know if this is a situation where Team Solo Invade would have waived the loss of bans, or if something happened there or not, I'm not sure. But regardless, moving through this first ban phase, we do have the Braum, Orianna, and Galio going to be banned away by Elysium. This does mean that they left open the Skarner and the Misfortune, the former of which they have snapped up with that blue side first pick.
All right. Okay, the Zyra too. So I know the Zyra has been a kind of popular answer into the Skarner jungle, which I find interesting. I think the main consensus is that Skarner, he does have to run at you unless he's able to go through walls, and Zyra can very heavily punish that if you hit the root and there's the slowy plants just chipping away at you. And then also you just kind of out-clear the Skarner, so you should be able to reach things faster. Not entirely sure on the rest of the reason for the counter pick, but I'm pretty sure that's the main reason why. Could also be going support here. That's another option.
That all makes sense to me. And Elysium, they are actually going to go ahead and get their Misfortune as well. So they were probably expecting for the Misfortune to go over to TSI, given the fact that they banned it previously. But they are going to get both of these strong picks that they clearly put a lot of stock in for the side of Elysium. So pretty exciting for them. TSI, on the other hand, did drop their Yorick ban for an Udyr ban. So we'll have to see if Yorick makes any kind of appearance in this draft.
We do. I mean, we did lose Yikaw, so I'm assuming that was a very Yikaw targeted ban there.
Could be, yeah, it's true.
The map's going to be paired with a Blitz here, interestingly enough, in the bot lane. The Blitz I can respect here into the Jinx. Blitz, of course, just is kind of a function champion. You pick Blitzcrank for one reason, and that's because you want to make picks here against a composition with some very vulnerable people that you just want to hook into you, and Jinx is definitely one of them. Zyra is another one too. Can be a little bit pesky if the plants are up, but we see the Nautilus locked in. You see the Blitz, it makes sense.
Yeah, we've reached hook parity, as we now have a hook on the side of Team Solo Invade as well. So that we do know our bot lane matchup now. It's going to be Misfortune Crank versus Jinx Nautilus. The Misfortune Crank side of things definitely can be very powerful. Both of these champions really like to be active in the early game. If the Crank does manage to land a hook, particularly onto that Jinx, right? Misfortune is going to be great for punishing that, or taking advantage of that, rather. But there is some potential for anti-synergy here as well, right? With hooking people out of bullet times and this sort of thing. So we'll keep an eye out for that, as we move into those later mid-game fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also makes sense here. If you're running the Zyra jungle, you're going to need frontline elsewhere. You don't typically see the Zyra locked in with an enchanter support, because then that puts a lot of earnest on your top laner to pick something to frontline for you, or your mid laner to say pick up the Galio. But there's not a lot of frontline you can realistically pick in the mid lane here, not to mention the Galio is taken off the board. So it does make a lot of sense here. It does kind of suck. Actually, no, you kind of want the Nautilus here. If you pick an enchanter with the Jinx, you're just asking to have to play under the turret for 10 solid minutes.
Yeah, the Zyra here is going to be a little bit of a different look for Unleashed this time around. I mentioned earlier on that Team Solo Invade seem to have a very specific style of composition that they tend to draft for. And I believe that this is going to be the first time that they are playing a ranged champion on somebody who is not the mid laner or the ADC. So that's going to be interesting for Unleashed to see how he looks on this Zyra pick. I'm going to try and pull up the op.ggs to see if we got any stats on that in just a moment. If you want to walk us through that second ban phase.
Yeah. Also, predictions are live here for anybody who wants to bet in on that. Currently, there is a single better for TSI with 1,500. I'm the single better for Elysium because I threw in 20 points because no one betted on them. And yeah, it is going to be the Malzahar here. Blind, interestingly enough, definitely going to have to be a comfort pick. Double AP, of course, means you can be very hard countered here. You already see the Skarner on the enemy team. Very easy to itemize just any form of magic resist there, and that helps you deal with the Zyra quite a bit. Could also see a tank in the top lane here. Emmet Vigard, though, kind of tells me you probably want a little bit more damage here on this top side, since neither the best consistent source of DPS. Of course, though, currently the enemy team, unless they lock in a mega tank in the top side, you're not really going to be struggling to kill too many of these enemy team members on the side of TSI.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
I don't really see any Zyra in the op.gg match history here for Unleashed. What were you going to go for?
It's going to be the blind Malphite, which is always extremely sus. It does mean you can't really pick an AD top laner into that, but at the same time, I don't think TSI really wanted to pick like a carry top laner here. So they're going to be more than happy locking in Simon, which has a positive matchup into the Malphite. Malphite typically struggles into tanks, only really has the very positive matchups into the AD heavy champions, like say the Tryndamere or say a Yone/Yasuo. Zion, though, you're not really going to be able to maneuver around the Deathspank Smash there, so you will be eating up a lot of fatty ones there.
Yeah, it could potentially be a pretty difficult laning phase for the Malphite. And it's definitely not a champion pool issue, right? Because Duddy is the starting top laner on this roster. I think I do kind of see the angle for the Malphite. Like, yes, you're playing into a couple of AP threats, but those AP threats are very immobile, right? They're very stationary AP threats. So the Malphite definitely is going to have the possibilities of getting some really high-value ultimates in the team fights later on. I'm sure that's the thought process behind this pick. You know, if he can find those really high-value ultimates, then it would pair extremely well with the Misfortune as well, right? Being able to set up those bullet times. So clearly a bit of wombo combo, I think, is what Elysium are going for with this draft. But for the side of Team Solo Invade, you know, there's a little bit of a wrinkle with the Zyra being the counter pick into the Skarner. But besides that, it's just another standard team fighting composition that we've seen them pilot so expertly so far.
Yep, and it's gonna be interesting because, like you said, this is a different look for them, and the Zyra can punish hard engage pretty damn hard here. Because if you're flying in here as these double tanks, you don't really have the greatest backline damage, so you're hoping to CC lock them before they can run away, which can be very hard if you don't one round them. Because as soon as you get hit by the Stranglethorns there, you are going to be eating up quite a bit of damage and having some troubles just getting on top of the Jinx.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case. You know, Zyra has is a very capable tank shredder, you know, like you've already discussed. There's also, I think, a really big risk because the Skarner and the Malphite, that's how they want to fight, right? They want to dive forward into the backline to initiate these team fights. I think there's also a really big risk if Zyra ends up placing the Stranglethorns behind the front line, behind the engage, and kind of cutting them off from the rest of Elysium. That could be really dangerous for the side of Elysium as well. So the Zyra pick definitely feels like the sort of the inflection point of this draft. I think it's going to really, in large part, come down to Unleashed's performance in this game to really, you know, determine how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious how that does play out here, because there's a bit of earnest on you to perform here if you are Unleashed, but as someone who has played the Zyra jungle, it is fun. It is a very interesting clear. I will admit, though, that you spike extremely hard on 1/2 items, and then after that, you tend to really fall off, because even though you build percentage health damage as this champion, as soon as a single tank builds any decent magic resist item against you, your damage kind of just goes out the window against them. That's kind of sad as a Zyra
Interesting.
player.
Yeah, I kind of forgot actually that you were a bit of a Zyra main these days. So definitely interested to hear, you know, your remarks on what Unleashed is going to go for this game, particularly in terms of build and, target selection in the fights and that sort of thing. So definitely keep us updated. As far as these other lanes, it's all pretty standard. None of these lanes I feel like are particularly exciting to talk about. Malphite Scion kind of plays itself, almost speaks for itself, Vhagar Malzahar is kind of interesting. The Vhagar is going to scale eventually, but he has a little bit less range compared to the Malzahar, and weaker wave clear as well in the early game, so that could be something to look out for if Malzahar is able to get that wave shoved out and potentially go for some roams. Could look really good for TSI. Anything else you wanted to touch on, or which side of the draft are you leaning towards?
Well, there is a Blitzcrank, and Blitzcrank games have very high rates of something at least being attempted level 1. It's not always guaranteed. Sometimes they just fish for a hook, it doesn't land, they walk away. Other times you just run straight into the enemy jungle and really hard force things. So I want to see what Elysium does here. If you're able to get that early game hook, it can be absolutely big. Against the Zyra jungle too, you want to kind of just annoy her level 1, because if she's able to get 3 seeds set up for her first buff versus 0 seeds, it is an absolute massive difference in at least initial clear speed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I've been mildly sad about, is the fact that we don't leash junglers anymore. I miss my Zyra leashes, man. They're juicy. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for our draft discussion. We'll see if we get anything at level 1, guys, in just a minute as we back onto the Rift for this second game.
涙よ星に瞬きを伝えて守るものがあるからきっと強くなれる語るべき言葉なくした星の守りでは時の果て夢の果て闇に立ちすくんだ風を呼んでみたんだ空に向けて誰かを呼んでみたんだ光求めたソリチュードかすかなレゾナンス確かに届くロマンスそんな流れ星たちを抱き留めた明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河にこぼれて道を強く照らす Burning Bright それぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導かれた重ねる手と手には言葉なんかより伝わることがある熱い心通じ合った確かなレゾナンス見つけるのはエッセンス目指した意識の先がディスティネーション答えが見えなくてくじけそうになって支え合い誓い合う絆でつなぐシャイニースマイル心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道を開く鍵は My Starlight Heart明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道が開いたら羽ばたいて行こうよ乗り越えて行こうよ星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜
Alright, BOL fans, welcome back on the Rift for our second game between Elysium and Team Solo Invade in this best of 3. Team Solo Invade, of course, able to pick up game number 1. And now Elysium looking for that level 1, like you were hoping to see, Go Farino.
Yeah, nothing's going to come of it, though.
True.
See if they keep pushing it. If they do, they will be spotted by this ward that was placed on red. Thank you, Wiki, for showing us here. And yeah, this is the other flip side of they'll attempt it, but sometimes you're just on the wrong side of the map here.
And really intelligent from Team Solo Invade as well, right? To be grouped up and mitigate the risk of the side of Elysium finding that isolated member. We do have some really strong power picks on the side of Elysium this game, in the Skarner and the Misfortune in particular. For the side of Team Solo Invade, though, they have another composition that really feels like it's so well suited to their strengths as a team. You're going to see both junglers starting on their respective blue buffs, with Unleashed getting that absolutely amazing, uninterrupted start on the first camp as the Zyra.
It is divine, let me tell you.
There
have been times I've had to start with a single seed, and even that's just painful. Sure, it's only for the first monster, but you can really feel it.
You really, really do. It does make a massive difference. Oh, missed up the double camp, though, a little bit there.
Yeah, Gromp is extremely annoying as Zyra because it de-aggroes off of pets extremely easy, I found. So there are times where you just do that and then it resets. So usually if I...
Oh, it's the hook landing for the Nautilus, as Dilly's going to take a whole bunch of damage here. Oh, man, the Misfortune's going to have to burn both summoners so early on in this one. Hack's going to get another dredge line back in a moment. It's not back up off cooldown quite quickly enough. Still, that's a massive win for the TSI bot duo so early on in this laning phase.
Yeah, both sums being down, it only costs you an ignite here. And you come out on top in the health department as well. That's absolutely very nice to have against a Blitzcrank lane because a hook's going to eventually land. So might as well have the health advantage going into that.
Yeah, and you know, we do have to remember as well, it's important to keep in mind that Sofa, not a support main. So they're going to do their best down here, but, you know, the fact that Elysium have had to do all this roster shuffling tonight is definitely not ideal for them.
So, yeah, definitely a big change compared to going in the mid lane here. And Blitzcrank as well. See what they can do here as the pick. All it takes is one hook sometimes as the crank.
Very true, very true. SK, as expected, has been having a pretty enjoyable time up there in the top lane so far. Just can't really be threatened at all by the Malphite. And like you predicted, quite easy to land those decimating smashes as well. Our junglers are arriving to the opposite side of the map. And Skarner is a little bit apprehensive here. He doesn't feel that he has the bot lane prio to actually make a move towards that South Scuttle Crab. So it's looking like a double crab is going to go over to Unleashed. Another feather in the cap for the Zyra.
Gonna be winning out in the farm department here. Kind of weird to be 3 CS up. I don't know what
must have
happened to
missed
that.
I think we missed a baby Krug or something. Yeah.
Yeah, or somebody took a farm from them. Ow. Another thing to point out in this top lane is Debbie took Aftershock, which means they just don't have a Keystone until level 6 here.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's intentional or a mistake. Grasp is fine-ish into this matchup, even though you can't really go up and auto-attack a lot. You know, when you can, you go in, you get a little bit of health back, and you stack a tiny bit of extra health.
Yeah. I think the Grasp probably would have been my option. But clearly, I think the Aftershock selection, okay, a little bit of a rocket grab in the bot lane. Totally fine. The Aftershock, I think, clearly indicates to us that this is a pick for the team fights, right? Duddy doesn't care about the laning phase. He just wants to survive. That's all he wants to do, get as many of the minions as possible. He picked Malphite so that he could press R in team fights. So we'll just have to wait and see how successful he is going to be at that. Oh, beautiful hook there onto RJ. Jinx maybe in a little bit of trouble here. Nice double up coming out from Dilly as well. The dredge line in response, though, as Hack's trying to go for a little bit of a counter attack, but now the Nautilus is gonna take a few bullets as well.
So there's the one hook there. It's not the hook that nets you the kill, but it is going to force out the back hero, let you try and shove this as best you can. I mean, Misfortune, not exactly known for a lane pushing prowess. She doesn't have the worst wave clear, but when your wave clear is just auto, double up auto, you can see it's not the fastest. We'll get off a nice little recall here, and that wave will crash in the turret. Deny a few creeps there, and you're back in here with an extra 12 CS under your belt. That's got to feel nice. Ooh, yeah, it's the BF sword def.
Yeah, that's pretty much the ideal first back for Misfortune as well, right? So, feeling all right about that. Grubs alive. Zyra loves taking grubs, doesn't she, Go Reno?
Yeah. Turns out when they spawn the little grublings, and your seeds get the resets when you kill stuff, it helps a lot.
It sure does.
You can't solo
these
dragon,
grubs
but,
are. Yeah, that's true.
It is very painful for soloing first dragon.
Guster Posey is here now, but there are some bodyguards for the Zyra. They're going to be able to push the Skarner away. All 3 grubs are secured for TSI, just like last game. And now they know that Skarner is up here. Oh, that's going to be a flash away from the rocket grab.
Something.
Yeah, it is something.
They're pathing right down towards this dragon, though.
They know
they have the
not there.
cryo advantage.
Sofa looking for possibly a hook angle. Oh, does find it, but the rest of TSI were waiting in the bush to counterattack. And Sofa is going to get knocked up here by the Stranglethorns. I think the Blitzcrank is probably going to end up going down. There's the first blood for Unleashed on the Zyra.
A bit of a ba-boom there, because neither side knew the Blitzcrank was there, or neither side knew they were just waiting over the wall for each other. It's going to be a nice pickup here for TSI, continuing their small lead here in this early game. They got both the first scuttles, they got all the first grubs. Continuing the scuttle game, that extra scuttle taken here on the bot side. Not going to start the dragon for obvious reasons. Might as well pick up your jungle here, keep the farm going, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the side of TSI, they may not have known that the Blitzcrank was there, but they clearly predicted it, right? At the very least, they knew that NBK was going to go for some kind of play in the mid lane. And the rest of the team wanted to be there to back him up. So they just ended up kind of reading their opponents like a book. And ended up getting that first blood as a reward. Looks like Dragon is being started up now by Guster. They're onto it. NBK spotting him out. Doesn't really have to worry. Oh, the Ignite to knock off the spell shield. NBK does get pulled in. Skarner there for the follow-up. Zyra is here, but the Malzahar is going to drop. So Cordelia gets Elysium on the board, 1-1 now. And Dragon will reset.
Yep. And you stop the Dragon at least. Does give over a kill here to this Vigar for Cordelia in the mid lane. Let them snowball just a little bit here. One kill isn't going to break this game wide, or break this lane wide open, but definitely will help next time there is another all-in here. Because we know the skill button here from Vigar can be very deadly.
No doubt about it. We'll see how long we end up going this game without anybody securing a dragon. Because nobody really seems too eager to really take control over that area.
Oh,
that's Hook landing onto RJ, who does have flash, will have to use it, but is still going to get hit by the bullet time. The Flame Chompers. Oh, it's enough peel to get the Jinx away, but here comes Guster. Flash R gets the job done. And Elysium up now 2-1.
One more kill and they can get the first of their free plus here. It's nice to have here. Small little boost for your team. They do have to reset though. That did cost a lot there, considering they used the flash and ulti here from Guster Posey. The bullet time's been committed as well. You will take it though. Yourself a little bit more of a lead here in this bot lane. The BF sword and the pickaxe here as well for Dilly.
Ooh, Cordelia has to flash away there. Unleash had a nice angle. Sidestep on the rocket grab as well. I think had vision that had information that Sofa was moving in. So was ready to sidestep the hook. I was kind of expecting Unleash to just go straight up towards the topside river again to look for the second round of grubs, but they're starting up the dragon now instead.
Let's see. Directed cam taking us to top lane.
Yeah, we're being trolled by looking at top lane right now for sure. Is Guster Posey trying to force his way in. Very tense standoff right now in the bot river. What was that?
Impale still not available, nor the bullet time.
Okay, well, there is the hook. They're able to get the pick onto the Nautilus. There is that feat of warfare is going to go over, and a man advantage now. Beautiful tangle or Stranglethorns, or grasping roots is the E. It was very nice for Unleashed, but not nice enough to actually win them the fight outright. Now, both teams still dancing in this bot side river. As the Dragon is going down pretty low. It's down to about 2K.
Another hook.
It's just going to be a flip for this first Dragon. It does go over to Guster Posey. Lands the smite. That objective will go over. A 1-to-1 now in terms of the feat of monster slaying.
Just going to reset here. If I was playing Zyra jungle here, if I lost that, I usually do the cope path and just run immediately to grubs here and take those.
Oh, I hear you. I'm right there with you, man.
That's mostly because I'm like one of those players that just hard focuses objectives. I'll gank like once or twice a game, but other than that, I'm just power farming and getting us objectives.
That makes sense. Zyra's not very good at ganking, but she's very good at farming and taking objectives, so it makes sense to me.
If you land the root, you're pretty good at ganks.
That's fair enough. Malphite's just still hanging out in this top lane, as Duddy has been doing a great job of surviving. He's had that on lock. And the first scrub will go over. The Unstoppable Onslaught comes out from SK. And for the smite will go over, so that's 2 grubs now for Guster Posey. Does use the Ishtal Impact to push SK back, but the Stranglethorns and the Nether Grasp are going to be committed to take down the enemy jungler. And Unleash does get in there to smite away the last grub as well. So that is the 4 grub breakpoint for TSI.
Yeah, Elysium, I think they just thought they'd be able to finish off the grubs in time there to get all 3. Not quite the case though. Bullet time in the bot lane gonna be a fatty.
A lot of damage onto RJ, who's holding on to the barrier still actually for now. Just gonna go for the reset instead.
Oh my. And the buff steal. Let's go. I respect it. Fun fact, this is the same skin and the same chrome I use when I play Zyra. I use the blue Blood Moon one. Mostly because that's the chrome I bought, I think. Hook
probably putting you in the mood, right? It's Flash Hook. Does come out from Sopa. Flash away from Alzhar. Still goes down. The Ignite going to claim the kill. Nice gank from Sofa.
Interestingly enough here, you got the Tear of the Goddess in the inventory and the Luden's gun here for Cordelia. Not something I expected. Usually you just want the 1-mana item as Vicar, but if it works, it works. Getting ahead here in that mid lane matchup now, 1-0-2. Feeling fine and dandy here. It's just gonna take a bit of a chill pill here, maybe. Guster Posey is in the area, maybe for a bit of action. Not gonna be quite the thing. Also, shoutouts to Wookie Monster here, not only for producing, but also for the +1 on the Prime Gaming sub.
Shout out Wookie, very nice. Both junglers towards this bot lane right now. And at the very least, the side of TSI know that Guster Posey is here. I'm not sure Guster Posey knows Unleashed is here. But nobody is looking for any kind of over-aggressive move right now. BK is also roaming down. Clearly the side of TSI are expecting something to happen down here.
Looking. Look is ready.
Okay, thinking about a dredge line. Not going to commit for it.
Take a chill pill here.
Yeah, very chill, very chill. As we know, the TSI, they're okay playing these games out slowly. You know, they don't mind. They don't mind a slower paced game. Where they really excel is those team fights. At least that's what we've seen so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Malphite, he's surviving. He's still surviving. Yeah. That's all he needs to do. Totally fine.
Yeah. Thankfully, as Malphite, you are mostly a button champion, and you hit level 6, so you have your button here.
That's right. That's right. Study Brains is you know, he's full build. He has his R button. That's all he needs. That's it. So
we'll
see.
Like
He's actually gonna. Yeah, well, that's fair. It's very close to them. It's interesting. I'm a little bit surprised. Well, I guess there's a really big wave here that the Malphite does need to pick up. So that does make sense. SK still going to be able to get in there for the Demolish proc. At the very least, we've got another Dragon coming up, 40 seconds. Hook lands onto the Nautilus. A lot of damage coming down onto Hack. Sofa taking a little bit in return.
Look for the Impale
As
here.
Guster Posey does get the stun into the wall. String of Thorns does come out. The Impale only onto the support. Hack surviving actually for now. Will eventually go down. Dilly claims that kill number 2 for the MF. Skarner ultimate on cooldown now though, but the hook lands! Unleashed in trouble! Zyra flashed away, stays alive for now. But in comes the Veigar here on the side as well, puts down the cage. NBK not gonna get stunned up just yet, but there's the primordial burst. And Cordelia laughing maniacally straight to the bank.
Laughing straight to the bank with this. Ha 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 ha. Ha. Yeah, the old I'm a cutie pie donation jingle. An odd one. But hey, gonna grab a nice one in the bot lane here as Directed Cam takes us back to top lane since they're fighting. Things are definitely occurring here on the top side.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely things happening.
I don't think Duddy has proc their Aftershock once this game, because I don't think they've ulted at all this game.
I think you are correct in that assertion. Now, we did see the first turret go over, so that is going to be the upgraded shoes now secured for the side of Elysium in this game. They're overall having a much better time of things than they were in game number 1. They've got themselves about a 2k gold lead, as well as those first 2 dragons. We've got an Infernal Soul on the table this time around.
Look for the hook here. Not too much follow-up, but landing a hook onto a squishy does always make them kind of crap their pants, so...
Yeah.
Might be a funny way to force out a flash here, even though none of the squishies actually have flash available.
NBKs will be back up soon. Herald is the only objective on the map currently. Lots of topside river control for Elysium at the moment. But they're not too eager to start that one up. Bot lanes, both bot lanes have transitioned at this point into mid-flash with the hook, and RJ doesn't have flash, as previously discussed. Dilly on a killing spree, and if I didn't know better, I'd say that Sofa was a Blitzcrank main. Been landing a lot of these, looking pretty good.
Yeah, definitely was a slow start to the game in the laning phase, but now that we're in the mid game and
need to
we're
warm
just kind
up.
of running around the map here, having better luck of things, I'm really surprised that hook landed there. It looked like it would either hit hackers or a minion there. Not going to be the case though. Pick up the kill. They're 3-0 on this Misfortune as well, so definitely going to hit quite hard with those bullet times.
Absolutely. Bloodthirster first, halfway to his second item is Dilly. Just cruising along so far in this one. You know, the one thing that, is potentially concerning for the side of Elysium is the fact that both of their carries in the Veigar and the Misfortune are relatively low range. Like, yes, you have bullet time, but if you don't have bullet time, then there is potential for, oversteps and people being out of position and this sort of thing. We saw tradable ultimates between the top laners.
Yep. So that'll be at least about another minute here until Duddy's able to proc their Aftershock here for the first time this game. Just by using it, though, already a quarter of the way off cooldown. This is without any CDR unless Sapphire gets haste now. The hook.
RJ hit again by the hook of Sofa. A rampage now for Dilly, and Sofa is just locked in on this crank.
Locked in. Helps when just RJ has no flash there, has no minion wave.
Yeah.
Then it's just the classic 50-50 of, oh, am I going to hook here, am I going to hook there, predicting your movement. And
yeah. I mean, maybe we do have to offer some criticism towards RJ. Probably shouldn't have been that far up with no minion wave, without flash. You're kind of just a sitting duck for the Blitzcrank, honestly, right?
Yeah. It's a rock and a hard place here. You're down 60 CS here. That is 10 waves here. As this Jinx, you're 0-3 now. Like, you're in a rough spot. You need to find minions, but if you're alone, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be a hook.
Yeah, and that's what we just saw. Depth charge committed onto Dilly now, as Unleashed, as the Dredge Line landing as well. The Stranglethorn, the Super Mega Death Rocket, everything is landing onto Dilly, but the barrier, the Jinx, Misfortune is still alive, gets off the bullet time. And NBK has arrived, goes for the Nether Grasp onto Cordelia. The Veigar burning down to the dot from the Malzahar may still drop. The Veigar will barely survive on a sliver of health. 2-for-1 team fight so far in favor of Elysium. It's SK trying to keep things going, now teleport in for the Malphite as Duddy Brain's gonna have the ultimate back off cooldown directly on top of Unleashed. They take down the Zyra. There is one trade back as the Veigar did eventually die somehow. And SK is also going to drop, though. It's a shutdown for Guster Posey's Skarner, and it's a 4-for-2 team fight for Elysium in the mid lane.
Huge pickup, and I think that's Duddy's first proc of Aftershock this game, so...
Hey, we did it.
20 minutes in, I kind of expected to use the Malphite, but still, hey, you take the team fight dub here. See what they can do with his newfound map control. You got Dragon spawning here in about 20 seconds.
Would be Infernal Soul Point for Elysium if they can get it. They've been winning out consistently so far in this game. But as we learned earlier tonight, it's not over till it's over.
Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Yeah. It's a great soundboard.
NBK gotta be careful here. There's a lot of faith in the spell shield, but that has not been working every time. Nautilus is gonna be the one to get engaged on. Unleashed flashing forward, but gets silenced! Is a little bit late with the ultimate as a result. Still a good amount of damage comes out from the Zyra, but the bullet time is gonna get the kill. Malzar's already dropped as well. Both the main carries down as RJ is at least still able to do something from the back line here, but not nearly enough. Jinx not really able to find anything too far behind. Another team fight win for Elysium, and they will get themselves that soul point.
A nice silence there from Sofa, as you pointed out there, delays the Zyra ulti, but I don't think it would have mattered too much more had that Zyra ulti come out even earlier there.
Probably not, yeah.
Easy pickup there. That's one of the benefits of being ahead when you have a Blitzcrank on your team, because you're just able to force your way into the enemy's throat so much and apply so much pressure, because they have to go up and drop vision, but the problem is going in blind versus a Blitzcrank always sucks, and you have these triple squishies here all vulnerable to getting hooked.
Absolutely. But it's just been, yeah, the fact that Team Solo Invade haven't had control in the lead up to these objectives has just meant that Sofa's had a field day in finding these picks. Really good for them. Otacon is alive now. It's on the bottom side of the map this game.
Yeah, for obvious reasons there was not a lot of action whatsoever on the top side. You can see the two top players, I mean,
they hit each other a little
out
bit.
of 14 kill participation here for Dudley. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But he did proc Aftershock that one time. That was pretty cool.
That's true. Production, can we get an Aftershock damage counter? Actually, hold that.
Yeah,
throw
some up in the corner.
You have
Sofa gonna get
zero damage
by the roots.
Oh. They didn't even get the value out of the damage. There's the engage.
Guster Posey's gonna find the Nautilus. RJ moving forward. The blast going a little bit awkward as it lands the Skarner on top of some Flame Chompers, but the Nautilus is still gonna be the first to die now. NBK's trapped in the baby cage, and now it's time for some bullets. Still gonna take that kill onto the enemy mid lane. The Stranglethorns is only going to knock up the tank Skarner, who's just gonna tunnel through a wall and be totally fine. 2 more kills for Elysium as they extend their lead.
Keep extending it here, and while that's all happening, you're gonna get a turret on the top side as well. You're just in a solid position right now if you are Elysium. Looking to bring this to a 3-game series here. Because right now, TSI's comp just does not have the damage to threaten you. The double AP threat, well, now there just happens to be a Koenig Rukern completed here for Duddy, so good luck getting through that champion, and I hope Guster Posey's getting a magic resist item next year for the love of God, because then they'll just do negative damage to your front line.
Yeah, very true. Oh man, insult to injury. That's an alt F4 angle as the Zyra, right?
That's a retire. No, that's what me and my friends like saying when we steal posts from people. Retire, retire. And all we did was like take a blue buff from them, but it is a very feels bad, man. it is this late in the game. You don't need blue buff as much as the first clear, obviously.
It's the emotional damage is really the key there.
And missing out on some gold.
That's...
Definitely really sucks when you're behind it. Because you have the Rylai's the Laundries here. Classic combos as Zyra, but you're this far behind. It's not a lot of AP under your belt, and you're going to die here.
Oh dear.
Aftershock damage, let's go.
Some unstoppable force, yeah, we got some aftershock value there, I think. As Zyra wasn't really going to be able to do too much anyways. Depth charge onto Dilly, just to try and get this Nautilus evacuated back underneath the turret. That at least will be accomplished. This game is feeling pretty over, honestly. I mean, TSI, do you feel like there's any way for them to come back at this point? I mean, they're staring down Infernal Soul in a minute. Surely if that goes over, it's just curtains, right?
To get kills into just RJ here. That's going to be your main way through this. Both your AP champions are going to be kind of negligible factors of damage here, except against squishy champions. So you need this Jinx online ASAP. Almost at the Infinity Edge, which is something, but then you need to immediately go into Armor Pen here, so you can't get any luxury items, like, say, a Bloodthirster for yourself, or QSS if you need it. Definitely does kind of suck here, but try and get some juice into this Jinx's belt.
Objective bounty at least off the mid-tier 1, as Elysium was focused on securing the Otacon. And now is an interesting decision tree for both sides, as we've got the Baron alive with the dragon spawning imminently. So, I mean, I guess maybe as TSI, you just try to suss out what they're going for, and you full commit to the other objective, and then try and work with that. I don't know. I mean, it definitely feels like there's no realistic way for them to win the team fight. I mean, especially against the Otacon buff, right? I mean, you just, like, can't even really try to fight right now.
That's difficult. They're pathing towards Baron here. It's going to be on a ward.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man, yeah, full information for Elysium. They're going to leave Vagar Misfortune to take down the dragon, and everybody else is going to go over here and make sure that the Baron cannot be taken in response. As the choo-choo train is going to arrive at a station. I don't know if that's the station we were going to, as the Scion is going to get stunned into one. Unstoppable force value is beautiful. There's that aftershock value for you, Gofarino. Dilly on a killing spree once again. The Impale comes out from the Skarner to seal the fate of all of these Team Solo Invade members. And Elysium, it looks like, are going to be handing TSI their first game loss of the season.
Granted, it is also week 2, so that's not as impressive as a stat. Like, okay, out of 4 games, this is first loss, but still, you know, good on them here, bringing out this comp, kind of babooing the enemies here, because TSI, falling behind as this comp definitely nipped them in the butt, just not doing any damage. Yes, you are working towards the Void Staff Heroes Unleashed, but it's going to be too little too late, because you still have extremely low AP numbers as this champion.
Where are we going? The Death Chain makes the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Not sure what we were doing over there, but
neither did I.
Unlucky.
I guess this position? I don't know. But yeah.
So I mean,
yeah,
probably like going for a recall or something, and then like realized he was cut off. I don't know. I missed the lead up to that.
Yeah, Unleashed isn't even here in the area. As Zyra jungle, it is kind of hard to walk up to objectives like this. Oh, aftershock value.
Yeah, Malphite wins these by RJ.
For some reason RJ
teleport.
Okay.
The Baron did go over, and Malphite's just gonna walk away.
Yep. Should just be a bit of a game closer coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's over. I'm pretty sure, but you know, after earlier tonight, it feels weird to call it, but it's definitely over, right? Like it's for sure over.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
It did help that the Dorado team comp was very weird and had quadruple melee.
That's
this time
true.
around.
It was very weird. Okay, we've got another grasp onto Cordelia. Vagar's going to go down to about 50%. And we've got another Scion ultimate that's going to crash into a wall.
Yep. And now you're dealing with the Baron minions here. Still no armor pen here for this Jinx, just due to the fact you're 0 and 5.
Yeah.
Extremely rough spot to be in, but that's kind of the state of ADC itemization. Like, you need the Last Whisper item ASAP, but you can only ever realistically build it third, because if you're building it second, then you don't have Infinity Edge. It's a rock and a hard place here.
It really is. It really is. It doesn't really feel like there are any angles left for TSI in this one. I mean, if you somehow last like 10 more minutes and you get everybody onto their third item, then, you know, maybe you're doing damage again, but you still lost all the objectives, and your base is still partially destroyed, and it's still going to be really difficult to ever face check against a Blitzcrank, so, yeah.
So, bit of a march on in here. Front line completely unkillable. This should be a bit of a pick-me-up.
Hook the Scion, and then we're going to kill the Scion. Yeah, they've got plenty of damage with the Infernal Soul as well, no doubt about it. So SK going to get taken down first this time around. Got Malphite split towards the top. Another hook from Sofa. Oh, he's making it look like a point and click this game. The Blitzcrank play has been phenomenal. The inhibitor turret in the bot lane is going to fall. The Stranglethorns is going to do nothing. And this should be the last push of the game. 31.5 minutes. All the inhibitors getting taken down. Another hook landing for Sofa. 11 kills for Dilly in this one, who does flash away and almost gets taken down by the Malzahar. The space aids will be enough to take down the Misfortune, and it is not going to matter at all. 1-1, we go to game 3.
Yep, going to game number 3 here. I wish we could see the final damage count on Duddy's Aftershock there. Kind of funny, but yeah, this composition, just too damn tanky here from the side of Elysium, and it didn't help when your double AP mid plus jungle just falls behind here. You just do 0 damage.
Yeah, that's definitely what ended up coming through. You know, clearly the side of Team Solo Invade felt like it was okay to give over the Skarner. They're like, it's fine, we've got the Zyra counter pick. It's going to be great. But they did not account for Sofa's Crank. Really felt like it dismantled this mostly squishy team comp, as you highlighted for us multiple times, Go Farino. It was just very susceptible to getting hooked. And get hooked, they did. That's definitely my POG vote. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, probably going to be to Sofa here for me. The Blitzcrank putting in quite a bit of work there after the initial hump in the game, but once they got warmed up, yeah, they started landing all those hooks.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on Elysium played extremely well that game. You know, Cordelia picked up the first blood, I believe, and obviously props for subbing in short notice as well. Duddy did a fantastic job of surviving in that top lane, and Dilly did the damage big time. So, strong performances across the board. We're going to go into a quick break now, and we'll be back for our third game of this match and our final game of the night. Alright, everybody, welcome back for Champ Select in game number 3 between Team Solo Invade and Team Elysium. Should be a banger. I was relatively one-sided in the first game, but then very one-sided in the second game in the other direction. And always really interesting in these game 3 fearless drafts. What does end up sneaking through? What picks are you really looking out for, Goforino?
Because a lot of the power picks are off the board here. I mean, no Victor Arcane, no MF, no Skarner. Varus is still available. I think he's dropped a little bit in Prio this patch, but still pretty strong. The Corki's also off the board, so we are definitely going to see more pocket picks here. That and also this being an Emerald League, you know, not everybody is playing all the meta champions all the time, so curious to see which players are getting pushed a little in their champ pools right now. Potentially they could have 4 of their picks taken away from them right now, not accounting for bans. Doesn't work out like that in practice, of course. However, though, we'll have to see. For those in chat, predictions have started here, so put your channel points on in for whoever you think's going to take it home tonight.
Absolutely. Do make sure to get in there. Let us know how you're feeling. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, Guster Posey's Kindred is still available as well. I wonder if that's being considered by Elysium. Could be fun.
What's the prio gonna be here? Could grab an ADC for yourselves here. Because I think first game is mid lane prio, and then second game it was the B1 jungler here. So ADC would be a new one here. With how pinched that pool is getting. Okay, yeah, makes sense. There's 4 ADCs off the board right now. Make it 5 with the Ashe. Get into second end phase here. You can take some other big names off the board here.
Well, I imagine that Dilly is going to be locking something in response to the Ashe. Perhaps the archery battle. If we do want to go towards the Varus that you mentioned just a moment ago.
Yeah, that's an option. Ezreal. Okay. That is another pick that's been popping up a bit more in pro play here. I don't think it's the strongest thing, but it's a relatively safe champion right now. ADC kind of considered to be in a somewhat weak spot. So Ezreal tends to thrive a lot in those metas because you're not super reliant on the crit items. You can abuse a lot of other items. You're relatively safe. Yeah. See what you can do with this champion. Will struggle with busting through tanks, though, much more so than most other ADCs, so something to watch out for.
We know that TSI does love their tanks. But we'll see if many of those do end up getting locked in. And Amumu? I guess Amumu was not played in this match, only in the previous match, right? So the Amumu definitely a bit of a power pick, at least here in the Blue Otter League.
Yeah, want to see what that's paired with. Definitely want a little bit to wombo with it. The True Shot Barrage, definitely a better juice in the tank to follow up a nice Curse the Sad Mummy. Maybe get some AoE out of your mid lane or two. That's certainly an option. Here's what the prio is here. J4, okay. J4, definitely one of those champs I feel is you see pop up in the later stages of the Fearless, because champ can kind of do a lot of things, but also tends to not excel in anything IMO, so locked on in here while the pool is a little pinched.
Sure. You know, the Jarvan is kind of unique in the sense that he has such potent early ganks, but he also has such a high ceiling in team fights later on, right? So I definitely get what you're saying, where he doesn't necessarily excel at any one thing, but he is a pretty well-rounded champion. We did see Unleashed have a really solid game on the J4 last week, and their week 1 match was 4-3-17 on the Jarvan in game number 2 last week. So definitely no stranger to the pick.
Yeah, let's see what round the first round of the pick and bans here. The Galio face that has been absent all night. Interesting enough, has been very high prio in the bans. I know a lot of people are high on him in the mid lane. Another great follow-up here for the Amumu, but it does mean you are going to want some damage at the top side.
Definitely. You know, there is, of course, the possibility of flexing the Galio as well. You know, we could potentially even see him flexed towards the top lane, or even support Galio. Occasionally will make an appearance, right? So we'll have to see. Into our second ban phase now. Elysium looks to be targeting the support pool, things that they I think might pair well alongside the Ashe. The Melio definitely a pretty classic pairing. I like that band quite a lot.
Also, the Melio just works very well into the Amumu because your ulti just kind of denies Amumu's ulti full stop, so
True.
you're able to get that one on off. Kind of means Amumu much less of a champion.
Ben gonna get banned away by Team Solo Invade. They don't want another global that would complement the Galio's ultimate. The Nami, pretty solid ban away as well, I think, because would be pretty strong alongside the Ashe to further empower those auto attacks, right?
It's taken away some utility enchanter supports here. Of course, there are many more still left in the book. Considering all we've seen picked so far this series have been the engaged supports, or I guess pick supports in the case of Blitzcrank. Not so much an engaged support, but pick is a form of engage if you want to get nitty and gritty. R4 gonna come up here. I'm expecting it to be the support. Save your top lane or potential mid lane counter pick for last year. You can potentially pinch the pool here even further for the supports.
That would make sense to me. See what side of Elysium do decide to go for. Of course, they could also still elect to send the Amumu into the support position also. If they feel like they want something else into the Jarvan. Running out of time. The Aurora locked in. So that does indicate that most likely it is going to be either the Galio or the Amumu going support.
Or it could just be the R5 support here, which not unheard of, just something very, very uncommon to see. Because typically when you watch Pro Leagues, LCS, LEC, or sorry, LTA/LEC, you know, it's basically always just a meta of pick and engage support. So you'll see them lock in the Nautilus, the Rel early on, because those finish most comps in Pro and just open up options for your other roles. Since you have the frontline CC bot in the support role. But, you know, you can do it in the last pick here if you need to prioritize other slots first.
Absolutely. If they just felt like they really wanted to get their hands on the Aurora, they were worried about getting that picked away, you know, then it would make sense to go for it there on the R4. Syndra is going to be the response. And then the Lulu. It's going to be alongside the Ashe in the bot lane for Team Solo Invade. And now it is time for the moment of truth. For Elysium, where is everything going?
Yeah, the Lulu gonna give the Ashe a lot of just pure disengage and ways to kite away in these fights, and he sort of engages. So how's Elysium gonna round off this composition here? It's not the highest damage comp so far. Okay, there is Guster's Kindred. So now it is one of the higher damage compositions. Thank God. Because if you picked a full utility support here, you definitely would be struggling a bit in the damage department.
Yeah.
Ezreal and Mumu bot lane, though, that is not something I expected to see tonight. I don't know how well it works out together, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing about Ezreal is he kind of just, to an extent, it almost doesn't really matter who his support is, right? Because if it's not a good pairing, then the support can just leave. And Ezreal is just, like, fine with that, right? So, feels pretty strong to me. I mean, I really like this Elysium draft from the perspective of a Kindred player. I feel like it's a great draft for Kindred, right? Assuming we have the Galio in the mid lane, that's going to give you the prio. It's going to be able to follow up very easily on whatever the Kindred wants to do. The Aurora is a strong solo lane as well. I should be able to get some priority there into the Gragas, I'd have to imagine. And yeah, I mean, I just think that the Kindred angle is pretty nice here, especially knowing that Guster Posey is a Kindred player also. I wonder if this is something that Elysium were setting up the whole time, or if this was kind of a last-minute call. It's like, oh, hey, Kindred actually looks really good here. Let's go for it again.
At least something I would like to ask the players after this series. My biggest concern here for the Elysium comp is you're extremely dependent on landing Bandage Toss here to engage fights. Because Galio is supplementary engage. You can't really flash Justice Punch into fights. You have to follow in with the Heroic Entrance. That's your reliable way into fights here. So if you're not able to get those off, it is going to be tricky here. And looking at the side of TSI, you know, they have very non-committal engage with the Casket and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and potentially the Scatter the Weak as well.
Sure.
So
yeah.
they're going to have more avenues for starting off fights here, much more reliable avenues.
I'd have to agree. I definitely would have to agree there. And that even, you already mentioned the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but even if Ash can just get in range to auto-attack somebody, right? Just the slow in itself can sometimes set up a pick. So definitely feels pretty potent what TSI have put together. It's going to really come down to setup, I feel like. It's going to come down to, who has more information, who has better positioning to go for these fights. Definitely, the engage, I think, is a very reasonable concern for the side of Elysium and what they've drafted. But, there's some tools with the Amumu, and then, Aurora, if she can flank with the ultimate and catch some people in that as well. It's not, like, hard engage necessarily, but it can be really difficult for champions without a lot of innate mobility, like Ashe and Syndra, to escape if they do get trapped in that Aurora ultimate.
Yeah, so Elysium definitely going to have to work for engages a little bit here, unless they're super far ahead, in which case, it's kind of easy to just keep fishing for this bandage tosses, and then you follow up and instantly win the fight. But that's not always going to be the case. You're not always going to be super far ahead. And I want to see how the junglers path this game, because so far, both games of this series, the junglers for the winning team have definitely had a large impact.
Definitely. Who have been our POGs so far tonight?
Last game
right
was Sofa. First game, I think it was
Was it the Corki?
jungler.
Oh, the Nocturne. The Nocturne.
Genetics?
Yeah, it was Unleashed on the Nocturne.
Unleashed.
Genetics
right.
was in our first match, much earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah, I mean, so supports your point. Junglers definitely have been important. Obviously, Sofa was not a jungler, but definitely, the jungler did a lot of work in that game as well to facilitate the victory for Elysium. And you briefly mentioned as well just now, Reno, the fact that the concerns about the lack of engage for Elysium could be very much mitigated, right, if they find themselves with a significant early lead, which is something that they were able to accomplish in the previous game. So, if we take that into account, the sort of the momentum factor, then it could be looking really good for them.
Yeah, momentum definitely going to be helpful here, but it also has been a long night here, not only for us on the desk, but also these players here once you get to game 3. We started, 2.5 hours ago? So, it's adding up a little bit here. It's not like game 5 fatigue when you're in a best of 5 series, but you are starting to feel some effects right now.
Oh, absolutely. Endurance, I think, absolutely a consideration as well. If we do see any, uncharacteristic plays in this one, I think it's probably pretty safe to attribute it to that. But overall, Reno, how are we feeling about these drafts? Definitely some strong elements on both sides. Maybe some slight weaknesses on both sides as well. What are your instincts telling you for who's going to be able to win out in this deciding game number 3?
Kind of feeling TSI's comp here a bit more, just since they have more ways to engage in these fights, and that's going to be very key. Elysium basically relying on a good Aurora flank or a Moon Bandage toss, not the most reliable. And if you're not able to consistently threaten this backline from TSI, the Syndra's going to scale up, the Ashe is going to scale up decently as well. Do a lot of damage to you.
Very true. Very true. We'll see. RJ with the B1 Ashe. Definitely really strong priority pick that managed to make its way all the way into this game number 3 and Unleashed on the Jarvan as well. Something we've seen this jungler perform extremely well with already this season. We were just talking about the importance of the junglers as well. But on the other side, we definitely like what Elysium have put together also. It feels like a great draft for the Kindred. And they have a pretty strong meta pick themselves in the Galio and the Aurora also. So gonna be a fun game number 3, guys. That much is for certain. Another short break, and then our last game of the night. All right, guys. One more time into the breach tonight. We have got Team Solo Invade back on the blue side, and Elysium back on the red to finish out the night.
30 seconds.
A little bit of a play.
Get the word? No.
Didn't get the ward.
Unleash, why didn't you auto it?
I don't know if driving was quite close enough to auto, unfortunately.
Yep. Well, I was walking away, I think. Still, I'm gonna spot that out. There wasn't really any kill threat there. It's level 1 J4.
Well, there was kill threat on the ward.
Yeah. So most you're hoping for is maybe the Glitter Lance here from Stacks, and you're able to force out a flash there, but that is a hard if.
Probably the main thing that the side of Team Solo Invade, at least, we're looking to accomplish is they have the double range advantage in the bot lane, right? So if they can get control over those bushes, they can harass the Amumu and try and force Dilly and Sofa back, get control of this lane. But Sofa and Dilly, their time here in this back brush, revealing themselves just yet. They see Lulu walk into the bush.
Alright.
Mystic Shot lands, Bandage Toss does not.
Yeah, Bandage Toss wouldn't have led to much there, and I think Sofa would have taken more damage there in that trade. The Mystic Shot was down, and we saw Diffie kind of walking away there. Sorry, Dilly walking away there.
Like, as he threw out the Bandage Toss, he was like, wait, don't land, please don't land.
Yeah, it happens.
Now, jungler starting on opposite sides once again here. Their respective blue buffs this time around.
We see the double range shove advantage coming out here on the bot side. And Israel's lack of wave clear definitely gotten a noticeable here. Ash, no wave clear machine, but the volley, you're at least hitting every minion for, like, what, 80 to 100 damage? And that's pretty noticeable when it comes to just pushing out the wave.
Sure.
These early levels.
I always do, whenever there's a Jarvan in the game, Go Farino, I always eagerly await his first game. Because as previously discussed, you know, he's not amazing in the late game by any means. You definitely can get a lot of value out from the Cataclysm, but it can be hard to find sometimes. I feel like the main reason why you picked the Jarvan is for that early ganking prowess, right? If you're not able to make anything happen at any point during your first clear, I always find that to be a little bit disappointing.
The Unleashed was spotted there on that bot side. There was a Raptor Ward placed by, I believe, Cordelia that spotted them out, and we saw the pings come here from Elysium. So they know this J4 is on the bot side and know where the ganks might be coming. Right now, the bot lane is pushed up for TSI, so a bit hard to gank that. Mid lane, the most likely one, but it would be seen here. And Aurora does have the E+ flash, so has some ways of getting out.
Guster Posey gonna win this initial coin flip. The Mark did spawn on the top side Scuttle Crab, where the Kindred was pathing to, so pretty big win there. Nice early first mark.
I do kind of wish, I don't play Kindred jungle, so my opinion probably does not matter too much in this. I do wish, though, for the initial Kindred mark, though, it spawned on both Scuttles, just so we wouldn't have to worry about the Queen Flip aspect.
I feel like that would just be too strong, though. You get a guaranteed first mark.
Yeah, it probably would be. That's why I said I don't main Kindred, so I probably don't have a horse in this race. I think it probably.
I mean, as a Kindred player myself, I would definitely be in support of that change. I would love that,
yeah.
but
I know Kindred players would love it, but would you, if it was that strong, would you love the follow-up nerfs that result of it? I don't know.
Maybe not so much. This Gragas is very much out of mana, but does have a teleport spell if he would like to go for it.
That's the thing.
It's not under too much threat from the Galio, so it's fine.
Yeah, because Gragas got a decent amount of mana nerfs about a season or two ago to affect the top lane Gragas, even though we haven't seen a jungle Gragas in ages, I feel like. And it's really noticeable. It kind of goes away after your first pack. You get the Tear of the Goddess, and everything is hunky-dory. Or you get the Catalyst. That is another option.
Yeah.
Things are hunky-dory. Or if you really want to, the Lost Chapter, but not always that angle. I feel like this could be a row angle here, just get the extra health. Have the Syndra, that'll be doing a lot of damage. Tear of the Goddess plus a Ruby Crystal. Okay, the Thimble Venter angle. I respect that too.
Sure. Very nice. Alright, seeing the first dragon being secured very early by Guster Posey and the rest of Elysium. Nice little move up there from Sofa to assist in the dragon take. And it's pretty cute as well because both the Kindred and the Amumu have a way to get over the wall without getting spotted by the Scuttle Crab vision. So TSI never actually had any idea that that dragon was getting focused down until, of course, they saw the notification that it had been slain.
I like that word from Cordelia there. Right at the entrance of the jungle, this is exactly where you'd path up if you're just going directly to these grubs from base. Spots that J4 coming on through. Yes, you could ward directly on the grubs, but that's usually where they clear, and this gives you more advanced warning. Because the thing is, if this J4 did full clear topside and then go for the grubs, that gives you a lot
Got a skirmish about to break out in this topside river as Unleashed really wanted to trade for that topside neutral, but the commitment from Sofa, the Amumu, early Amumu roam up is gonna, looks like, net Elysium. Both of those early neutrals, yeah, they do get all three. The Aurora ultimate does come out, a little bit slow onto the drive as he tries to retreat, but now it's Duddy who's gonna have to flash over the wall to make sure that he can stay safe. There's a roam up from the Ashe there as well. So it did end up being a 5-man commitment from TSI towards the top side, but they're too late to secure any of those grubs. Oh, nice cask. Separates the Galio from the rest of the team. The Unleashed Power doesn't quite end up getting the kill. And now Galio, the flash from Unleashed to get to the other side, denies the Justice Push to get underneath the turret, and Duddy does end up getting taken down. And there was that kill onto Cordelia as well. So I guess the Unleashed Power from NBK was enough to secure that kill. So at least a couple on the board for TSI.
Yep. Of course, the objectives will outvalue those in the long run, but hey, first blood here for the Syndra, you will take that champion scales up quite nicely. That means you're getting extra Splinters of Wrath, or little jibbies as I call them. It's a stacking mechanic. Just in the tank there to hit your spikes earlier. And the extra money, also very appreciated here. It's going to get you the Lost Chapter and the boots going into lane.
Absolutely. See if that first item spike for the Syndra coming online a little bit earlier could be impactful in perhaps a second dragon fight or something like this.
Yep. Because I don't know the standard break or usual timings for when you get the upgrades on Syndra, because I don't play the champion at all.
Wookie, do you know?
Yeah, so it would be interesting if, like, we know generally, like, say you want your first upgrade 10 minutes in, and then you get 9 minutes in, you know, that's obviously juiced. Hard to call, because I don't know. Well, okay, I know the breakpoints of the champion, because it's like 20, 40...
Nice scatter.
60, 80 hundo? Or it might be. Okay, look for the
Bandage toss, though, is going to land onto NBK. The Royals make a minute as well. Syndra in trouble, doesn't have flash, doesn't have a health bar. Cordelia picking up their first of the game and the first kill of the game for Elysium.
Yep, very nice pickup there. You're able to just slide on in there behind enemy vision. Just pick that one on up. Kill for your mid laner as well. We'll see what Cordelia can do with this. At the very least, it's going to get them a nice reset here. They get the cannon, they hop back to turrets. The wave is going to reset perfectly fine for them. Going to be able to come back onto lane. See what the power spike is here. At the very least, I'm expecting boots and some more components here for your last chapter item. I don't think this is enough to finish your first item, but if it is, that is going to be very nice.
Yeah, doesn't quite have it just yet, it looks like. Go for the completion on the Mercury Treads, actually, as Cordelia. There's going to be some pretty good value in this lane against the Syndra, and helps a little bit against the Ashe as well, just to, you know, slightly reduce the slow. Of course, any potential arrows as well.
Yep.
Well, it says, I believe the second mark is about to go over for the Kindred. Yeah, that crab was marked, so that's up to 2 now for Guster.
Very good. You take that. Hopefully you get another mark here soon, and then you'll be just 1 mark away from the big range increase that takes you from 500 to 575. And 550 is like the average for ADC's auto attack range, or it's like used as a general benchmark. So 500, very short range, but then once you get that first boost, you go up to 575, which is a little
really
above
nice.
average.
Absolutely. Dragon just now arriving onto the Rift. It's a Cloud second this game. And then here comes Team Solo Invade, moving in as a pack. They're looking to chase the Kindred off the objective. They will be able to do so. Thinking about a collapse now down towards the bot duo. Ezreal and Amumu in a 2v4 at the moment. I don't like those odds. Dilly trying to Arcane Shift away, but is just going to get absolutely dunked on. Flashes, the barrier, the Unleashed power. And that's going to be the feat of Warfare going over as, oh, a beautiful alley-oop there. A self-alley-oop for SK in the mid lane, but Cordelia is still going to survive. The Mercury Treads giving a little bit of value there as well. Sofa with the bandage toss, running to the wrong side of town is this little Amumu. There are no friends anywhere in the area for the sad little mummy. Has another bandage toss, tries to make friends with the Raptors, but they just start attacking him as well. Very sad. And this is going to be a kill given over to NBK. 3 now for the Syndra.
While it is happening, though, grubs are being taken on the top side here. So it is going to be a 6 grub sweep because of how long that took in the bot side. With Guster Posey being chased off that, they're like, all right, I'm going to clear top side. If they want to, they can just path from this into the enemy jungle to pick up the Gromp
You
there.
have to.
That is
You're
the solo
a real
queue
Kindred player,
thing to do.
you'll do it. Come on, Guster, I believe in you.
I swear to God, if I see Guster hop over the wall. Yes. Yes. Greed for it. Greed for it.
A mark, yes. That's so
Do it.
good. So this is
Now
going to
we see
be
NBK
still just 3.
know.
But Guster
They
has
know.
smite. It's fine. As long, even if you die, just get the mark. Okay, he got the mark. It's fine. We're going to go for the Lamb's Rest, but flash over the wall. Pretty nice. Unleashed with the flash follow, trying to chase down that pesky little Kindred. Get some revenge for the Gromp. Will be able to do so. Sofa now in a little bit of trouble. That Justice Punch a bit awkward for Diddy as he ended up punching a wall. Now the Amumu likely to get taken out. That EQ from the Jarvan also pretty awkward. They are going to be able to finish off the enemy support. Now Duddy flashed away, joins up with the mid laner, and the Galio will survive. So 2 kills over to TSI, but Kindred got the mark. So I think we all know who really won out in that trade. It's Cordelia flashes away, but the Syndra ultimate does come out a little bit more damage, and that is actually going to be another kill going over as NBK is on a spree.
Yeah, it is very predictable.
Still worth though.
Yeah. Got the mark, so hashtag worth, but yeah. Like I said, that is the solo queue Kindred thing to do, like, oh, you're on bot side. Okay, I'm gonna take this objective and go directly to the mark, and it's like, you saw everybody in TSI like, okay, we know where the Guster person is going. Let's get him. And they did get him indeed, but who wins in the end? Who knows?
I respect it for both sides. Good stuff. And now we'll see. So Kindred, I believe, still at 3 marks. Let me double check that. No, actually, Kindred did get up to 4. I wonder if that Scuttle Crab was also marked, or because Jarvan has been marked the whole time. I don't think Guster has gotten any marks from kills. Well, there's only been 1 kill for Elysium, so Definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah, unless they were somehow able to cheekily swap to that mid fight, but that was around the first close.
Pretty sure that the Jarvan has been marked the whole time.
Mm-hmm. 4 marks. Not even 14 minutes into the game. Pretty good.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad at all.
Yep. You got the Triforce as well. Pretty nice spike that gives you a lot of stats you want. Gives you some nice health too. Well, a nice little modicum of health to survive a bit and going.
Pretty common on the Kindred, especially in games where you feel like you can hit a lot. I don't know if I personally would have gone for the Trinity Force in this game. I feel like I would have maybe gone for a crit build against this many squishies. But, you know, fair enough to go for the Trinity Force. It does give you that little bit of extra health, like you said. So that can be useful. Just to sustain a little bit in the fights or like barely survive a Syndra ultimate or something. Would definitely come into play.
Yeah, not to mention the Spellblade passive from Triforce is nice against squishies.
Yeah. True.
Give you that extra bit of burst, because the crit helps a lot more against tanks. Okay,
Oh.
it lands. You do have
Oh,
backup
Dilly, you're
here.
dead, aren't you? I think Dilly's
Yeah.
pretty dead here. He does have an Arcane Shift button. He's going to try to trade onto Argay. That shift was actually really, really nice, but it's not going to end up mattering because really nice tag team there coming out from Unleash and RJ. They take down the Prodigal Explorer.
Mm-hmm. Not much you could do. They flash only just coming up here in a second. And yeah, was traded in the mid lane though, so 1-for-1 across the map, and he did get a shutdown there onto the now 4-2 Syndra piloted by NBK.
Nice. Yeah, it was gold for the Aurora as well. Pretty good for Elysium. They are down 2-8 in kills, but they're only down about 700 gold, so not too bad, all things considered. They've got a pretty healthy CS lead in the jungle, and about a 2-wave lead in the AD carry position as well. Dilly about 2 waves up over RJ's Ashe at the moment. Looking for this Gragas right now, but he's just barely going to get off that recall. Close one for SK. He'll be all right.
Big Crab's doing work here. There's a reason why Riot did have to tap down the damage on those, because it did get kind of a little crazy. Looking for a thing here. Banished
out of the bush. A surprise mummy. But now the mummy is going to be the one who gets surprised. The Curse of the Sad Mummy to buy a little bit of time. That's on to 2, but they're just going to have to leave Sofa for dead. Guster Posey now in a whole bunch of trouble. Gets knocked up by the Wild Growth and completely obliterated as the collapse come through from Team Solo Invade. Double kill for the Ashe. At least the turret does go over for Elysium, so they do get that first turret feed.
That's enough here for the boots.
Yeah, that is the completed feats. Yeah, because they did get the 6 grubs plus the dragon as well. So it's the turret and the objectives. Despite the fact that they still haven't gotten 3 kills yet for the entirety of this game, they still got their Jordans.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, thankfully. Ooh, nice stun there. You're going to have to hop between worlds there. Yep. Well, between worlds is the ulti.
Yeah, it's, what's the W again?
Who is the weirding? And then
Cross the Veil is the W.
No.
And the weirding actually is the E. That's the one where she, like, knocks herself back a little bit, where she, like, jumps back. That's the weirding.
Oh, right. E is the weirding.
The Q is,
Q is you throw it out there, you can yank it
X.
back. Looking for a pick here. Bandage Toss misses. Okay.
Oh, it does. I got really distracted there by Aurora abilities. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I only learned the abilities usually that matter most to cast. Because, like,
that's fair.
You don't typically have to say Blitzcrank W. You just have to say the Rocket Grab.
Uses the overdrive. For sure. This is going to be first Infernal Dragon, slain by Team Solo Invade. They do love their dragons. It's going to be 2 of them. Cordelia going forward, finds the ult onto 2. The Enchanted Slayer connecting onto the Galio there, I believe. As RJ should be able to disengage, helps the rest of the team disengage.
Everybody just gets out. Dragon going over to TSI though. They're gonna appreciate that. Their first Infernal Dragon of the game.
Oh, NBK as the Bandage Toss connecting. Here comes the hero's entrance over the top, and NBK is gonna get assassinated in his own jungle. Oh, and that red buff I'm pretty sure was marked as well. That's up to 5, I think, for Guster.
Yep. 5 marks there, so 2 more until we have 600 auto attack range as this carry. Definitely got to be putting in work here this game, even though you're only 1 and 2. Just having this nice amount of farm as well as 5 marks.
That was so satisfying to watch, just to see the team play for Kindred like that. They probably didn't even know that NBK was there. They probably just wanted the red buff, and they were like, oh, hey, Syndra's just walking through the jungle. Let's kill her.
That one on up. Easy pickup. And NBK did see them there, considering they threw out their abilities there. But not quite enough. Probably needed a flash earlier before that bandage toss even landed.
Well, I don't think the Syndra had vision of the Amumu before the bandage toss landed. I could be wrong, but...
Because I saw them drop the sphere there. And
oh, that's
like,
true, they did.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah, that's true. Because I don't think there's any wards there, but...
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow going to split the uprights this time around. Cataclysm flashed beautifully by Cordelia. Is the Aurora going to be able to get away? She steps between worlds, and now she's going to be in the underworld, as it were. And now the EQ forward for Unleashed, looking for Guster, gets the other side of the blast cone, and is it going to be enough space? Guster uses the smite for the slow, and the Kindred just hops away from him. Oh, Unleashed, oh, a little bit of tilt there, potentially. I think he wanted to go for that one underneath the turret, but knew that it was a bad idea.
Yep, there's a taunt.
There's bandage toss as well, as K going down about 50%. Dilly putting in the damage. On the Ezra Curse, the Sad Mummy committed as well, shut down. Over to Duddy on the Galio. Makes it a 1-for-1 overall in the extended play. Unleashed doesn't have the Cataclysm available. The Unleashed power is wow, Unleashed and Unleashed power. I just realized that.
Yeah. Unleashed squared power.
True.
Well,
a lot of not being leashed.
Power, yeah.
Pretty cool. Otacon is alive now. Also pretty cool. It is on the top side of the map this time around. And there is a mark on the Krugs, which, pretty annoying. Those Krugs can be pretty tricky to get. Maybe not quite as annoying as the mark on the Wolves. That's probably my least favorite.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, Krugs is still a hard commit, but... Wolves, you definitely have to go all the way in.
It's scary to go for the Wolves, yeah. For the Krugs, you can, like, hop over the back of the Dragon Pit wall, and then if you have the short cooldown on the Q, you can kind of, like, at least get into the Krug camp very quickly from the river.
Yeah. I don't know, it's also easier to escape from there, because you just hop over back the wall towards the Dragon Pit, whereas with Wolves, like, if you hop over the wall, like, they can just walk around and still get you. Oh.
Absolutely. We got a Shelly charge and a Crystal Arrow on top. It's not going to land. Here comes the Hero's Entrance over the top as everybody on the side of TSI have to get out of that Galio ultimate. They are able to do so. So a few ultimates committed there. The Aurora ult, the Galio ult, the Explosive Cask as well from SK. But not too much in terms of anything actually happening.
Yep.
Dragon and 40. Would be Infernal still a point for TSI if they can get it. Would be really big for them, and we can tell that Elysium absolutely do not want that to happen, as they are currently set up in the South River. Oh, RJ, this is dangerous. The Ashe is going to get taunted up, and Aurora is there to do the damage, and that's going to be the shutdown over to the Elysium mid laner. Got a 5v4 now, should be able to tie us up in terms of those dragons, but Guster is going to find that his Krugs are gone and cries a single tear.
Nice pickup there for Elysium right before this dragon spawns as well. You won't really be able to recall here and use that extra
EQ, Duddy potentially in trouble, but they don't have their Ashe for this team solo invade. You can't be going for fights like that without your Ashe. We're gonna end up losing one more. It's the jungler this time who is going to drop. Nice scatter though on Dilly. Preemptively pops the barrier. Probably a smart call there. Will survive the outplay button. And the dragon will be taken.
So, yeah, just kind of giving over 2 freebies there. Just RJ, you could argue, okay, maybe they got a little bamboozled there. But they did see that ward get placed there when they started sweeping. So probably should have had a hunch there. It goes that way.
Probably, yeah. There was also, that's like the exact same spot where NBK died earlier. So Probably being a little bit more careful over there by the red buff pit would be warranted.
So yeah, gonna deny the soul point here as well. So 2 kills, an extra dragon. Very handy here. For the side of Elysium. Keep this game pretty neck and neck, all things considered, at the 24-minute mark. Either of these teams could definitely break it wide open. Casket does bring the Amumu a little bit closer, but yeah, and I don't think they have enough damage to cut through this Graggy.
So Guster did pick up the assist onto the Jarvan a little while ago. So Guster's up to 6 marks now.
That's good. That's good. One more, and then you hit that mark. Second item collected, though.
Oh yeah, I don't. I mean, if you build Trinity Force first, then you're just committing to the sort of bruiser. Oh, that's a long-range arrow is going to land. The scatter there for the fall. Beautiful peel though from the rest of the team, keeping Guster alive. And now the counter engage comes out. Taunt onto 2 from Duddy, and now Guster dashing forward, trying to do the damage. Unleash, Cataclysm onto 1. It's only the front line. It's going to be the Lulu and the Galio traded back for now. It's going to be Sitter taking down the other side of the team fight. Cordelia flashing over the wall, staying alive for now. Blam's Respite committed as well. Sofa now on the back line. Finds the Vanish Toss onto RJ. Flashes away, stays alive. Guster jumping forward, looking for the Ash. Is he going to be able to get it? Does manage to find it just barely. It is going to be the side of Elysium in the end. They went out in the team fight. It's Unleashed, the last survivor for Team Solo Invade. Will be able to flag and drag his way out towards safety.
Marks now, as well as a 1 team fight here. 4 for 3 in your own jungle. That's got to feel nice. Oh yeah, it is the Collector second. Not a big fan of that. NGL.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Still though, props to Elysium though. They're able to dissuade that engage there. Great by them. Because the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land onto Guster there. But the problem is it's way too far away. You have to commit very hard and go very far there in order to confirm that kill. And when you do that, you're in an arrow choke point, and next thing you know, there's the Cursed Sack Mummy, there's the Heroic Entrance, and you're just kind of locked up for eternity, not able to do too much there.
That's absolutely right, Goferino. You know, it did end up being a very contentious fight, a very back-and-forth fight. But in the end, I do think the fact that Team Solo Invade had to compromise their positioning so much to try and follow up on that arrow was kind of what ended up being their undoing in that particular skirmish.
Put some decent gas back in the tank here for Elysium, who was a tiny bit down earlier. Neither of these teams really have had a commanding lead so far this game. The biggest differential right now is going to be the Grubs for sure. 6-0 Grub lead is always very volatile because it means the team with 6 Grubs, if they do get a win, they can absolutely just shred through any sort of turrets in their way. We saw it in game number 2 of the day with that big comeback, that one fight around
Yeah.
After that, those turrets just kind of schmelted. Bit of a rush trap.
They sure did. Yeah, they're gonna find Unleashed. Oh, didn't quite catch who ended up getting the Krugs. Unleashed is gonna go for the Cataclysm and then the flash out to stay alive. The Jarvan actually gonna escape there, but Hax, not so lucky. Lulu is gonna get taken down, and Cordelia is now on a rampage. 6 kills on this Aurora.
That was after a slightly rough start here. Was a bit behind in lane. Yeah, I knew the opponent was 4-1 at one point, but NBK has had a bit of a target on their back, and now 4-4.
There's a nice scatter for the disengage. Dragon coming up now. About 30 seconds on our 3rd Infernal Dragon, and would be the 3rd dragon for either side, whoever manages to claim it.
Gotta keep things close here. Resets
Nice
coming on through. So Aurora for Cordelia does not have teleport just yet.
Yeah, so
interesting.
There's a shield on for the Galio, so the damage from the E of Unleashed, the standard there, not enough to break the shield, means that he is able to complete the recall, but they are definitely awkward timings on these resets for the side of Elysium. You know, the fact that they chose that time to reset means that they completely cede control of this south side river. And see, Team Solo Invade moving in, able to clear out all of this vision. And you discussed earlier as well, the you know, kind of lack of engage with this Elysium comp. Now is when it might come back to bite them.
Man.
There's a scatter going to land onto Duddy. They're trying to lock down this Galio. He's pretty tanky. I don't know if he's tanky enough, though. There's the Unleashed Power. Is going to get committed. Sofa tried to get in there to turn the play around, but Elysium kind of just went in one by one there. It's 3 quick ones over to Team Solo Invade. And they're going to go up to Soul Point as well.
And with
actually.
Okay, there's no jungler on the enemy team.
That's right.
You do have to be worried. This is a Fed Aurora. If they're able to cause havoc here and take some health bars even lower, that could be an issue. Does not look like that's going to be the case. It is going to be a trade of objective for objective here.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm curious if they go for the Otacon after this. The health bars are pretty low.
I would like that. I actually would really like that. I feel like that would make it much more worthwhile if they get the Otacon as well.
Alright, they're starting out a bit late, though. It's going to give some time for the members to respawn here. Guster Posey only just respawning, though. I think they won't be here in time.
Yeah, I think they've got enough time. They should have enough damage. Two-shot barrage is going to come out. The steal is not going to be there. So they do get the Baron and the Otacon for Team Solo Invade. The Aurora's does come out there. They're trying to knock off a few of these buffs, but they're not going to be able to do it. Unleash DQ away, and all 5 members for TSI can be able to get back to the fountain. Really interesting macro decision there, Gofrino. Break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, getting the Baron plus Otacon there, that is a pretty powerful 1-2 punch. The Otacon, of course, this is the one that gives you the extra gold on kills and assists, as well as the GA. So the bonus gold you get from those kill participations is going to last the entire game and help you just snowball further. Giving up Soul Point does always feel bad, but you are getting a 2-for-1 deal, which is very nice. And the thought process here is you're going to be able to garner enough of a lead with this Baron that next time the dragon spawns, there's going to be no contest.
So how much do you think the TSI need to get with this Baron in order to secure that for themselves, in order to secure the amount of map control that they're going to need to guarantee that next dragon?
Definitely all the outer turrets here, and then I want to say like 2 inner turrets here. I don't know how feasible an inhibitor turret is going to be, considering they have to go through the outer turrets as well here. Hey, if they're able to do it, if they had any grubs here, definitely would be much easier to do. That's not the world we live in, though, so just living off the Baron buff.
With the 4-1 setup right now, Team Solo Invade, they had Syndra off in the bot lane until just a moment ago when NBK did decide to go for a reset. The top tier 2, the one under fire at the moment, Syndra does not have the teleport, so is not able to join up for this play. And so the side of TSI have to be a little bit hesitant. They can't overcommit. They can't overforce this. So they end up risking losing everything that they just gained. They will be able to get the tier 2, it looks like. Baron buff still persisting for about 30 more seconds. NBK now sieging on towards mid. Nobody answering the Syndra right now in the mid lane.
Yep. Yeah, it is going to... Actually, never mind. With the cannon here, and how much damage we do with AP to turrets, got me enough here, so... They had the amount of turrets I wanted them to get. Not as much gold as I thought it would be in terms of the swing here, but it does get you a nice solid chunk of gold here and some very nice map control, since without the turrets, it is going to be that much harder for the Elysium comp to just push forward and get vision in their own jungle.
Kindred did get up to 7 marks. That's something else for us to mention. Guster did get to that next breakpoint. You do need to get up to 8 marks before your marks start spawning on the epic monsters, on the dragons and the barons and that sort of thing. That is why we still see the mark on the Krugs down there. But that second breakpoint, as we discussed previously, very, very big for the Kindred. It does mean that, you know, they do have a bit of a longer range than the average AD carry. And that can help to mitigate some of the engage issues that the competition has as well, right? Kindred can just get in there for a slow and auto-attack people from farther away. Something.
Yeah. Because the thing with range in League is that a range increase from a higher number is effectively, you get more area out of it. Like a range increase from 600 to 625 nets you more area to auto-attack in than a range increase of 500 to 525. So each one of these breakpoints definitely going to matter just a bit more than the last. I don't think we're going to see like any sort of 13 mark gaming here unless we go another 20 minutes. But having that many
Unlikely.
stacks in the bank definitely got to be handy here as a bit of assurance. You now have 3 items as well. Very handy to have.
Absolutely. Well, we are seeing the setup for the dragon starting 40 seconds out on the spawn. Mid Prio is the name of the game right now as we see all these players. SK is the only person not here in the mid lane at the moment. There's some good old-fashioned NA ram happening.
Yep. Got the bot lane pushing a little bit in the favor of TSI right now. Slowly push towards the enemy base, and someone will have to respond to that eventually.
Ufa, thinking about looking for
Drag.
something. Backstep on the EQ, Unleash, not able to find it. Scatter lands onto the Aurora. A little bit of chip damage there. That's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow connecting onto Dilly. And Unleash is going to go in. Oh, it's a beautiful cast follow-up as well. The Arrow's entrance come out, but the Ezreal has already been exploded. Sofa is trying to get some value with the Amumu. Did find a pretty good curse with the Sad Mummy there, but the follow-up is not going to come through as the fight has already been won by Team Solo Invade. Although, it's Guster and Cordelia still able to get out a good amount of damage. It's another nice scatter from NBK, and there is the damage as it comes through. Guster, the auto attacks. Oh, the flash away. NBK barely staying alive. Cordelia, the flash follow, the twofold Hex for the shutdown as Aurora manages to pick it up. Goes between the veils. That is going to be shut down in the end. Crazy team fight there. I thought the engage was crisp enough for TSI to secure them a more significant advantage, but just barely they still win out 4-for-3.
Really good until it wasn't there. Just RJ was pumping out a ton of damage. The problem is the cooldowns came back up and you have no defensive itemization outside this Bloodthirster right now for this Ashe, so all it took was like 2.5 abilities landing there, and then that major source of DPS was gone. It was very noticeable. Had it not been for the fact that NBK was still alive, things could have gone south there. Dragon's still available on the map here. People only just respawning now. Jungler advantage in favor of TSI, but I don't think either of these teams really want to hard commit for this right at this very second.
Yeah, another team fight could be breaking out imminently here. I think in that last one, it did actually end up being really consequential. The fact that Sofa was able to delay the entry for multiple TSI members to really get involved in the fight. Starting it up for TSI now, looking to burn it down. They should have enough time to secure it, and there it is. So 3 dragons apiece now. Looks like they're going to get everybody out once again. Maybe not. Sofa finding the bandage toss. TSI, the call is full retreat right now. Another bandage toss landing for Sofa. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out for a little bit of additional peel. And now they're thinking about maybe a turn, but it's a great position for Cornelia. The Aurora just find multiple members with the ultimate, and it's a great curse for the Sad Mummy as well. In comes the Galio over the top, and the health bars are already being shredded by Team Solo Invade. Duddy flew in just to fall down, and now the EQ over the wall. Dilly shifts away, but now is trapped in the Cataclysm. The flash wait for Dilly with a flash follow for Unleash. Guster trying to move in, trying to peel for the 80 carry. Another EQ comes back off cooldown. Ezreal's all out of mobility, and in comes the Gragas with a big old belly, but the Lamb's respite keeping the Ezreal alive for now, but Dilly steps off the respite in time. No more respite for the Ezreal. The volley claims the kill for RJ, and this time it is a more decisive teamfight win, 4-for-2 for the team of Solo Invading.
Yep, and they're gonna crack open the base here. SK has teleport if they want to back here. Doesn't need to, however. At the start of the fight, Cordelia gets into the backline there, big between worlds, but no Zonias available, I believe, or just died before the Zonias could go off because they got absolutely popped there. Drop in an instant. And
looked good, but like you said, there's just the couple of key members died too fast on the side of Elysium.
I don't think they start the dragon, or sorry, the Baron here right now. Just secure some control and reset here. You got a lot of money in the pocket, and you have supers spawning in the mid lane, so that's going to give you some consistent pushing threat in that mid lane. Someone who's always going to have to respond to that. Thankfully, if you're contesting Baron, mid lane is the easiest one to respond to because it is the closest one to the Baron.
Very true. There is at least a little bit of vision in that pit right now for Elysium, so as of now, they have the information that they need. And that Infernal Soul has not been claimed just yet. We got one more Infernal Dragon before that is said and done.
The game goes on that long here. We are at the point of the game where 38.5 minutes in, just one goof up from either of these teams could result in the game just ending. One has an up
The
against
Crystal
the other.
Arrow, the engage onto Sofa. They've caught out the Amumu. He doesn't have any friends coming. That's going to be a killing spree for RJ and a 5v4 on the map for TSI as they look to start up the Baron. Okay, waiting in the bush.
Gragas in the wings
Finds
here.
Dilly. The beautiful scatter comes out as well. Miezreal just gets obliterated. Never stood a chance there. Duddy now getting stunned up, tries to use the ultimate to get away, but it's not going to work out. They take down the Galio as well, and there is, I think, maybe that whoopsie that you had just foretold go for Reno. It's only Cordelia and Guster Posey left alive against all 5 members of Team Solo Invade, and Cordelia kind of a real hard time getting back to base. SK just kind of playing with the Aurora right now, booping them with the belly. And the Gragas has the magic resist to survive. It's not worried about getting solo kills, just stopping the recall, buying the time for the rest of the team to take down the Nexus, and it is going to be the 2-1 victory for Team Solo Invade.
Solid showing here from both teams in this game number 3, but eventually Team Solo Invade just able to bring it home. They have the advantage, they're able to get the picks here, just able to find the people, bring it on home.
Yeah, but I mean, what a treat for our last game of the night. I'm so glad that was a back and forth battle. And props to Elysium. We have to remember as well, they had to play with multiple different substitutes tonight. And I just am very happy that they were still able to make this game, this entire match, so competitive. Really, really awesome to see TSI get pushed like that, but they still managed to come out on top.
Yeah, so TSI going to be one of our 2-0 teams going into week number 3. You're going to be feeling good about that one. Elysium, though, like you said, put up a hell of a fight here despite the subs they had to bring on in. Hopefully next week they can field their full team here. It was a treat to watch both these teams here in this series tonight. Game 2, probably the most one-sided thing, but still we saw some fair fights being put up.
Definitely, definitely. We have one more POG, of course, Go Freno to award tonight. I think there's, I mean, it was no doubt a team effort for TSI in this one. Everybody had an important role to play, I think. It is going to be RJ on top of the damage charts, a little over 34k. MBK not too far behind him. And SK, I thought, had a great performance on the Gragas as well. What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of feeling just RJ here. They really popped off in a lot of the team fights there. Main criticism is they were very hit or miss with those enchanted crystal arrows. NBK is probably my second one here. Not only because of the damage, but they had some very strong Scatter of the Weeks there, and we're just able to follow up on a lot of engages there to just finish off people with that ultimate.
Yeah, the scatters were great. The target selection with the ultimate was great as well. Really looking for those priority targets. But I like giving it to RJ. I like giving it to RJ as well. I mean, I felt like the Ashe had a relatively strong laning phase, and it definitely was able to have pretty safe positioning for the most part in the team fights to get out that consistent damage that they really needed her to do with this composition. So it was an important job for RJ, and he nailed it. So very, very nice. Did you have any other final thoughts, Go Farino? We've been at it for quite a while now. I think we're both looking forward to a bit of a break after this one. Any closing
Thanks to
remarks
both
for
our
us?
producers tonight, Wookie and Alls. Also, shout outs to the Blue Water merch store. You guys saw the jersey available.
Oh.
Go buy one. That'll get you all the people you want, unless you're asexual or aromantic, in which case it'll feel cool, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, get yourself some Blue Water merch here.
We did have actually one other very, very important thing to cover before I forget. We had one more party that we really need to express thankfulness to, for bringing us some high quality League of Legends this evening, and that of course is Pro Comps. So quick shout out for them. One of our main sponsors here at Blue Water. They are a game-changing app for the League community. It's not just like the other tools, guys. It's a personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. I'm sure it was utilized in some capacity too. You can get real-time drafting advice, tailored championships, champion picks, band recommendations, all kinds of great stuff. There's already over 280,000 downloads for pro comps, thousands of daily users. It's totally free, guys. No brainer. Give it a try. Nothing to lose. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the link in our bio. So quick shout out to them. Thank you, pro comps. Thank you, Gopherino, for sticking it out with me all day. Big thank you to our producers as well, like you already covered. Thank you, everybody, very much for watching. We appreciate you guys as well. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we got one more best of 3 to close out week number 2. You're going to have Trunk, Somo, and Ferris back for that one. And that is going to be High Alert versus Omega Gaming. Same time, same place. Enjoy. See you next week. Have a good night.